Inside at last.
Welcome, fellow Taffers, to Inside at Last, the one and only thief-dedicated podcast. My name is Alex, and we are back in the new season 2020. Happy New Year. And of course, as always, I'm joined by my fellow guests, or friends, not guests, friends. Next Level Next, and Cozy Psychosis. Welcome back.
Hey, guys.
And of course, to start this podcast season with a treat, we have a special guest again. And we didn't just aim for some random guy. No, today we are joined by Random Taffer, or Rob, as we will address him. Hello and welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you?
I'm pretty good. Can't complain too much.
I think for the community, you don't need so much of an introduction, but please tell us who you are, maybe where you are located, and what we are talking about today.
Yeah, my name is Rob. You all know me as Random Taffer. I don't know how public I've made my name. I think I have, actually. I think I signed some of my missions with it. But I live in the middle of a giant cornfield out in Midwest Iowa. Actually, I don't live in a cornfield. I live in the capital. But yeah, I like to call it a giant cornfield because it basically is if you're outside the city. Yeah.
But you have internet. That's great.
Yeah, we have internet. Yeah. Yeah. We have color TV too.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what are you watching? Like Dallas?
Mostly Matlock.
Yeah, I like that. And you are an author, and we are talking about your Godbreaker series, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, before we come to that, as always, it's interesting to hear about how you stumbled upon Thief. Maybe you remember the day, how it was. Maybe it was something special, or maybe not. And why you love it.
Yeah. I think I was probably 12 or so, and I was actually babysitting some family friends, and they had a PC there. I did not have a PC at this point, but I really liked to play Civilization 2 on their PC while the kid I was watching was taking a nap. So,
and you made him sleep.
That's right. Yeah, I definitely put him down a few times. No, I played Civ 2 on their PC, and I noticed they had like a demo disc, and it had Thief and a few other things on it. And I remember hearing the name, I was like, Thief, and I'd always loved, medieval stuff, and because I remember firing up the disc, and it looked like it was going to be something, medieval, a guy with a dark cloak on, and I remember playing it a little bit there, and just being totally blown away by the atmosphere and how, like, I just the whole idea of characters in the game like living their own lives and doing something whether you're there or not. Like Thief really sort of seeped that idea into me about how cool that is, about how, like, no matter where you are, there's probably somebody doing their own thing in the map. It's not just all about you, basically.
Yeah,
it kind of is, but back then, for that time when you saw it, it really hit that feeling home, I guess.
I can totally relate to that. I think at that time it was amazing, the feeling. I don't. When have you been 12? How long is it? How long ago was it?
Oh God, I'm bad at math. So I'm 30. I'm 33 now. So it was quite a while ago.
So you're my age. Okay, so it must have been about
99, 2000. Yeah.
It was the same.
Yeah.
You stumbled upon Thief 1 or Thief 2?
It was the demo for Thief 1.
So Baffords.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and I remember when I actually finally got a PC at home. The first couple of games I got were Civilization 2,
of course,
and Thief as well. And I remember playing Thief, and I played it all day on a Saturday, and it took me all day to beat Baffords. And
Yeah.
I remember because it's just such a weird and new thing for me. And of course, back then when you don't really know how the AI works at first. It can, once you learn, it's actually fairly easy. But for a new player to it, it can be pretty hard and difficult.
And I think the age makes a difference because I remember it. I was 11, so around the same age, and I think it's way more intense at that point. When you're maybe start with 18 or something like that. I think that was really creepy.
Yeah.
And they hadn't, there wasn't even zombies in that mission. I think
Oh, yeah,
otherwise I
yeah.
never would have bought it. But yeah, I can totally relate to your situation.
Yeah.
One thing I always find interesting when we have guests from the USA, PC gaming, especially at that time, was really not huge in the USA, right?
I mean, I don't really know how it was in the culture at large because I'm from a flyover state, so everything's was relatively isolated before everybody had access to the internet. I mean, we all had dial-up internet for a while, but it wasn't everyone wasn't quite as interconnected then as we are now. So actually, it was totally news to me. I think I was playing like in a tournament for an RTS game, and like a couple of years later, and I used a picture of Garrett for it was back on GameSpy, if you remember those days.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was using a picture of Garrett that came with the GameSpy as the avatar. And I was like, oh yeah, it's Garrett from Thief. I love that game, and I was playing in a match, and they're like, oh, you played Thief? I was like, yeah, I love that game. He's like, what'd you think of Thief 2? And I was like, Thief 2? What? And I didn't even know there was a Thief 2.
What?
Wow.
Yeah,
What
and so I got
What a good day that must have been.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was like, I looked it up and confirmed, Thief 2, and I was like, it sounds a little pathetic, but that was like a very happy day.
So lucky you didn't find out about other Thief games in 2014.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was but that's amazing. That's like Christmas and birthday on one day.
Yeah, no kidding. And so and of course, when I got it, my PC couldn't run it. I had this really, really crappy PC that my parents had bought. It had like Windows ME on it. It was just like a really, really bad. And I actually had to get a part-time job and start working to build my own PC so that I could play Thief 2. Yeah. So that's and actually when Thief 3 came out, or Thief Deadly Shadows, I of course knew about that ahead of time, and I had it reserved. Like I had a copy reserved at the local GameStop, which is I don't know if it's like a national gaming store chain here, but
we have it as well, yes, but not back in the days. But we had like it's called MediaMarkt and Saturn. So yeah, it's like a big store for stuff. And I did the same. I pre-ordered it as well.
Oh yeah, and I showed up the day it was released. Yeah, there's gonna be like a line of people, waiting to get Thief Deadly Shadows. And so I went into the store, and of course, like the person who was working was like, "What game did you reserve?" He had no idea, and I was like, "Yeah, it just came out today." And he's like, "Oh, let me check," and it was there, but he had no idea. There was nobody there that was. I think I was the only person that reserved it in like probably like a 500-mile radius.
Same here. Yeah. What I was always was when a new Thief game came out, I was suddenly sick and couldn't go to school.
Yeah, I did. I definitely pulled that quite a few times. Oh man, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
But what do you love about the games? Why are they so appealing to you?
I always am drawn to stuff that has like, I guess it's kind of a similar reason to why I love like Lovecraftian stuff, because there's like this aura of mystery that's there. Like there's this massive dark lore behind everything, but you're only scratching the surface, and there's lots of things that are hinted about. In most games that I'm passionate about, I'm always like just a lore hound. I love learning about the world and building. I love building worlds too, so I'm always fascinated by that. And specifically with Thief, like I just really love the mixture of like medieval, with technology, like steampunk, I guess you could say. I love that idea.
I think they really hit a cool sweet spot because the world is really believable.
Yeah.
Because if it would only just be mid-age, it would be a bit lame, you know, and if it would just be realistic stuff. So I think this thing is really cool.
Yeah, I remember when I first played it, I thought it was like, oh, this is just going to be a medieval stealth game, which, you know, I was already sold at that point. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, you know, that's awesome. And then I saw one of those like weird, you know, street lights with the solar collectors, and I was like, what the hell is that? You know, and there's electric lights and stuff. And then of course, you know, got to level 2 in the mines and the zombies, and I was like utterly terrified playing it.
Yeah.
So
I
I remember also thinking that like I thought that the undead had like supernatural ability to sense the player. I didn't realize that you could actually hide from them. And I don't know why I thought that, but like I didn't think that you could sneak by zombies. I thought you had to either fight them or run. So I would always run usually.
Yeah, I hate it.
Which one do you prefer, Thief Gold or Thief 2?
You know the right answer.
I do. Well, I know what you I know what you would prefer me to say.
Listen not to the trickster.
Oh man, that's really tough. It's like
Didn't you prepare? You know our standard questions.
It's like Sophie's Choice. I guess for the darkness in the world, I really like Thief Gold. But then there's some missions in Thief 2 that you know, of course it has Life of the Party, and that's
Right.
a tough mission to beat. I don't know. I guess overall I would say Thief Gold is my very favorite, just because of all the nostalgia that's attached to it and everything, you know. And also it has my favorite guard voice actor as well, who is not in Thief 2, but you may have noticed actually in most of my in Godbreaker, I make sure to bring that voice acting set into the campaign to be part of it.
Can you name a line?
You know, it's the guy that's like going to the bat pits tomorrow. You want to?
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
Or
You know,
actually,
when I
sorry,
make my
that's Benny. Actually, that's the other guy. It's the guy that answers like, couldn't pay me enough. It's that guy.
Yeah, couldn't pay me enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. When I'm on the forums, I suggested to the thread, you know, me for voice acting, and I did that line, for example. Yeah, because I think it's iconic, and yeah, and the voice. I think every guard voice is amazing, but this one next to Benny really stands out. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I like him a lot. In fact, it's Guard 2 is who it is, and I can do a pretty good impression. I can do a pretty good impression of him. So a lot of times people will have me do that voice for their missions.
Can we have it?
the impression? I don't know. Yeah. Like maybe I was singing all night, so my voice is a little rough this morning.
Yeah, but you need a rough voice for this voice, so it's perfect. Use the opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I can do a decent impression, but honestly, it like destroys my throat doing it.
You don't have to, so it's okay.
I've got a show tonight. I've got to sing, so I should be easy on my voice. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that was an interesting view on your Thief experience, or how you get to that. But now maybe we should transit to the main topic. I think people are biting their nails. Godbreaker.
Actually, could we just quickly mention this? You've made quite a number of missions. And I was wondering, how long did it take you to go from playing Thief into creating missions?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I didn't know about fan missions at all until I think it was probably like 2005, because that's when my TTLG account was made. In fact, I remember like wishing that there were more Thief. I was like really sad that, like, you know, the story was over and there was never going to be any more you know, Thief. And I was like, man, I wish I could make my own maps. I could make such cool things. You know, I really I'd really like to try making my own thief missions, and I remember having a dream, I think, about making my own maps, and I remember waking up and being very sad, and I actually I just went to Google and searched like custom thief missions or something, and then stumbled upon TTLG, and I discovered that it was a thing and it had been around for a while, and that was about the same feeling I had when I discovered Thief 2. I was like, oh my god, this is like incredible. And so I immediately, and back then I had dial-up internet, so I couldn't download like the big, I couldn't download T2X. I had to order it from Comag's Keep of Metal and Gold site to get the DVD.
Interesting.
He actually forgot to send it to me. I made a donation to his site or whatever in order to get it, and I waited like probably 2 months, and I was like, huh. So like I sent him a message on TTLG, and he was like, he apologized, and he was like, oh, I saw that your donation, but I must have missed it. Sorry, you'll get it. You'll be getting it, soon. And yeah. So
wasn't he from Switzerland as well?
No, I think he's from the U.S.
Oh, maybe I'm.
I think he lives
my head.
I think he lived in like Oregon or something.
Maybe they have a city like New Switzerland, as you people did there, like New York, New Berlin, New whatever. So maybe that's, I don't know.
Could be.
But that's the thing. Yeah, back in the days, you needed like a DVD. That's really interesting. But I can totally relate to that. Like I didn't know about it for years. And then I stumbled upon it. It was like a gold mine. Like, there's a thing, and it's still going on.
Yeah.
That's a great feeling.
So you made about 6 missions, actually exactly 6 missions, I believe, in quite a rapid succession. And then for the Godbreaker, you took a 8-year gap. What's with that?
Well, I think in between he like co-authored.
Yeah, so I've very seldom made. It's been some time. So I think since I've made a mission. Hang on 1 second. Can you hear me? Okay, I think my mic's messing up.
Yeah, you're cutting off a little bit.
Okay,
yeah.
1 second.
Your call will continue shortly.
Stay in line.
Okay. I think it was some time before. I'm still doing it. Hang on, let me just.
So, guys. Yeah,
Excellent.
He's gone.
Never returning.
Yeah, what a thief. I think his name is really, he's Random Taffer, then now he's Rob. Like Rob is the perfect thief name.
Yeah,
he is.
You missed a pun earlier. You should have said
I told him already when you have him there in the pre-talk.
When did Rob begin Robin?
So to answer the question, I've actually made a bunch of missions. I think I've made more than 6, but usually Yandros' name comes first on them, even though I've done usually just as much as, if not more, on the mission than he has sometimes. So
yeah, but it's all about the names,
Yeah. So usually people associate Yandros is the lead on the mission. So I kind of just, I guess, kind of like Tanner as well. He's usually involved more than people think.
Okay. So is it a secret I have to cut out in post-production, or?
No, I don't think so. I think he'd be okay with me saying that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Exclusive information, so I can advertise this episode.
Yeah. Because Death's Cold Embrace was definitely I was a full author on that. Most of it was already done by the time I joined. Like all of the maps and the story and everything were put into place by the time I joined. But I really, really hated the way the story ended. I hated it like hard, like with a passion. I hated it. So I wanted to work on it.
Can you explain?
Isn't he obsessed with the devil or something like that? The father? Was it that?
No, it was so in the original story. When it gets to the ritual, I assume you've all played it, but like when it gets to the ritual, it just works and it's just a happily ever after ending right there at the ritual. Like you work and you get all the stuff, and then it works, and that's it.
And then Garrett runs out with flowers everywhere.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
That sounds nice.
I mean, it was, but it just felt like there was no.
It felt too perfect.
No drama.
Yeah, and one of the main themes of Thief, and has always been in all of the Thief games, is there's always got to be some
darkness,
dark
drama.
twist that happens at the end that you may or may not have seen coming, type of thing.
Yeah, some imagination that starts in your head.
Yeah, so I wanted it to be where the ritual works, but ends up going bad.
Yeah,
and we don't
Garrett
want to
is
spoiler,
sarcastic.
right? What happens, really. Yeah. But it's, I think, so props to you, because the ending, I liked it very much. Because it had some like some smile and a sad face, like.
Yeah, if I could go back and do it again, I'd probably, like, if we updated it, I would probably bring that character that shows up. He is hinted about early on, but it can be kind of hard to catch. I would bring him. I would make it more apparent that's a thing early on, because I know we got some criticism about that. And there's the whole like Delilah side story as well. That was kind of my baby. I don't know. Like, it just felt like something morbid and creepy that I wanted to throw in there. And I guess I'm always trying to one up myself with like creepy things in all the missions I make. So Delilah was probably the scariest, I would say, that I've done in my opinion.
Maybe.
I mean, there's also the ghost in Jimmy and Codex that's pretty scary if you don't know how it works, I guess. But yeah.
Was it? Which one was that? I'm always mixing up things. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, Jimmy and Codex was the one. Was also another.
No, the guys. Can you describe the ghost? Can you describe him? What he does? How he is? How he?
Yeah, so it's like you can't see it. You can only hear it.
Is it with the torches?
Yeah, when the torches go out when
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite scenes from all the Thief fan missions. I hate ghosts, but this one was so intense. And that is your work, right?
Well, yeah, it was excuse me, it was Yandros and I. It was my kind of idea, but he made it work.
Wow, that's such an amazing one. Yeah, that was a treat. So congratulations on that scene.
Thank you. Yeah, no, recording that was pretty. I actually reused some of the sounds in Godbreaker for some of the ghosts, but like recording that, I was in like a kind of a metal band at the time, so like I had to go into like another room of my house and just like scream my head off to get the screams in there, and I was concerned that the neighbors were gonna like call the cops on me.
And then you said, "Hey, I'm just a thief."
Yeah, that's right.
Great. So if we want to talk about those missions, you are actually would be a good guest as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like if you ever have Yandros on,
that's the thing. Maybe. So no, it's good to know, because Death's Cold Embrace is something I want to talk about in the future, definitely. And good to know. But maybe can we now come to the topic next, Psycho? Or do you have another question to put in front?
Maybe just so you've mentioned Drymin Codex, Death's Cold Embrace, Drymin Codex even being referenced in Godbreaker. Are there any other big missions that you've worked on that we don't particularly know?
Well, it wasn't big, but it was for a contest. I think it was Cell 6 was Yandros and I as well.
That was futuristic stuff?
No, it was the one where it's like an undercover. I always wanted to do an undercover mission. So
yeah,
you're like the cook. You're like the undercover cook or whatever in this prison, and you're trying to solve the mystery of this person's father who died. And I kind of cringe a little bit when I think about the mission, because I don't know, I feel like I went too over the top with the whole recording of the father's murder, and it's good acting. It's just probably too gruesome for a thief mission, probably. I don't know if you've ever played it, but it's pretty brutal sounding, like the torture scene that's in it.
Yeah.
A little adult, probably. And so we had to put a warning on there. And I don't know. I think I kind of went over the top with it. So
yeah, it was created by Yen Rantan.
Yep.
Which is a cool combination of your names. Yeah. So we have like a really big influence when it comes to missions. That's amazing. I wasn't aware of that, actually. Shame on me. Shame on us.
That's all right.
Yeah, I know, but just for the act. We have to, it's like when you have a show like this, you have to do things like that people want to hear. So
sure,
it's cool. But next, another thing, because you're doing good, so you're.
No, I think. I think that's it. I think we should talk about the Godbreaker.
Yeah, right. That's
what we're here for.
Actually, yeah, right. Good. Thanks, you reminded me. Go on with it next, or Psycho, as a good friend of him.
Yeah.
So, like, what was the? I guess the main question I had was, what was like the inspiration for the story? Like how did you kind of start drumming it up in your head?
Well, originally it was for Fire Mage's 14 words contest. Like I was going to do a mission for that contest where the idea was that they give you a bunch of words and you're supposed to make a mission based around those words that he gives you. And I don't know if any of you remember that, but the rule was that he had a bank of words and you would choose numbers and he would give you the words that correspond to those numbers and you had to make missions. Your goal has to involve this word and you can't have this in the mission type of thing. And the thing that it ended up coming up with, I don't remember the words I was given, but I remember Frog Beast was in it. And actually, Frog Beast, I don't even think there are any in the mission at all. But so I've always wanted to do like a swamp mission. So that was the idea. So I started building this swamp, and I wanted to make like the swamp mission to end all swamp missions. I wanted everybody to remember, when they think about Thief and swamps, they think about this, because at that time, everybody pretty much thinks of like Swamped or Left 4 Dead, by Schwa. And I wanted to make something that was, with New Dark. And I definitely had to scale back quite a bit just to make it playable. Because when I initially started building it, it became like the frames dropped like pretty badly. Probably not as badly as some more recent fan missions that have come out with terrible frame rates, but it was it was getting there. So I had to block off views and stuff like that. But for the story, it was actually originally, I don't want to say anything, I'm not trying to say anything bad, but basically it was supposed to be a Garrett story, and I was like, yeah, but why is he in the swamp? So I made like that little prequel mission, Slipping Away, as to why he might want to leave the city for a while. And I made this briefing video, which is pretty much exactly how it appears for Slipping Away. And I got a voice actor in the community who does Garrett, that we all know, and I gave him the script, and he did it, and he did actually a really good job. But there was a specific line in it that I wanted.
Is he gone for you as well?
No, he's around. I think he's.
No. I didn't hear you properly. That's why I was just asking. Maybe it was just my connection.
Oh, am I not coming through?
I don't know.
Through for me.
Okay, then it was just my problem. Okay.
Well, so that's fine. So there's a voice actor who plays Garrett, Sly Fox, and he does a really good Garrett. Everybody, he's a great voice actor. But I wrote the script, and he did it. But there was a very specific line that I had in mind for the briefing, and he changed it, which is fine. I was like, hey, everything is great, but I sent him a follow-up message. I really need you to say it this specific way. And I sent it to him, and I never heard back. And I know he's a really busy guy, so I didn't want to bother him. So I was like, well, crap. Like, I need to have that line in there. It's just so Thief-like, and it's so cool. So I started thinking about it, and I sent my friend Jim, Master Thief 3, he's a great voice actor. He can do like a perfect voice of the Dan Thron's guard from Thief. He can do like a perfect impression of that voice. I sent him a message asking him to come up with some Thief-like character lines, a few different voices to try. And so he's like, okay, I'll see what I can come up with, and I'll send you a few different voices, and then you can choose what you like best. And then just like very quickly, very soon after, he sent me a bunch of lines, and I was like, oh, cool. I started listening, and it was totally a joke. He was just doing a Sean Connery impression and like started reading me lines in the Sean Connery voice. And so at first I was like laughing, we were all laughing together about it, listening. And then I thought about it, and I was like, well, hold on a second. I actually kind of like that, because I love Sean Connery, and I love, it reminded me of that movie. What is it? The Name of the Rose, where he's the monk. He's like a monk doctor character. You know what I'm talking about? It was like the 90s, I think. But I loved that character, so I thought it'd be cool if he was like a wise old thief, And so yeah, that's how the Connell character came about. And then as I was making the mission, I came up with like all the backing lore of Sir Eldon and all of that, and the Knights of the Shining Sun, and I really love world building, so
it shows,
yeah.
The thing is, next to me, we were just talking yesterday about it a bit. And first of all, the voice is great. I think the voice is really outstanding for you. You remember that voice. This is one good thing. But for me, the voice was totally taking me out every time he was speaking in game.
Sure. Yeah.
Because when we were talking yesterday, because he's very loud, and next to me, we were like, imagine like there's that old wise thief, as you call him, and he's sitting in the dark corner, and and imagine you're a guard, and suddenly you hear the voice out of the dark corner, like, oh, row, and every time
was that supposed to be Connell there?
No, of course not. I wouldn't, but that, like, yeah, this strange voice coming out of the dark corner, and every time it took me out of the narratives, which is maybe it's very, very personal for me, but that's a sad thing, about something that's so good. I don't want to criticize the work in general, but
no, it's
what it made with me.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, next.
I didn't notice it as much as you did, Alex, when we talked about yesterday. I did notice it, especially on the mission 4 when you're coughing and you're trying to hide. And then we had the talk with Alex, and the exact thing that we were laughing about the day before happened to me, where I was just I just got into a dark corner. I was very immersed into the game, and he's like, "Thank God he didn't hear me." I was like, I think Garrett's becoming a little too old, and he can't control he doesn't hear anymore.
It's Connell, but yeah.
Oh, Connell, yeah.
Yeah, that would be stupid if it would have been Garrett. Like the voice changes that much in the age.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost an eye. Maybe he lost his voice box.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like cancer.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of knew when we chose it that it was going to be hit and miss. Like there's actually lots of things about the campaign that I knew that people are going to either love or they're going to hate, or they're going to be like, I'm not so sure about that. And I kind of figured, some people are going to like let's just say it, like Sean Connery. It's Sean Connery. That's the voice. Some people are going to like it, and some people are going to, it's going to take them out, as you said. And I guess that was a kind of a price I was willing to pay, I guess.
Which is good. I think it's like it's an artist's decision, and the voice is great. And as I said, you remember it. You can say, "Oh, Godbreaker, that was the mission with that amazing
with Sean
voice."
Connery.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
it was just the volume.
Oh, okay.
No, it's no. I don't know. In the in the cutscenes, the voice was really cool. I really liked it, and especially when you hear it for the first time, you're like, "Oh, that's cool. That's something different," you know. So I think it's a good decision that he didn't go for the Garrett voice. So yeah, I think the decision is right. It's just
Yeah.
it's an individual taste. Maybe it was a bit too loud, right?
Yeah.
But
well, I can I'm before the next campaign. I'm definitely going to re-release like a fixed and like slightly changed version of Godbreaker. So I'll definitely take that down and maybe lower the volume a bit. I matched it pretty much exactly to the volume of Garrett in the original game, but just because the voices are so different, I think I probably need to turn it down. Because everybody's voice is a little unique, so I probably just need to turn it down a little bit more.
especially this one, yeah.
Yeah, because for me it was just the volume, the voice itself. Of all the times that authors changed the voice from Garrett impersonators to something else, I have to say this one is by far my favorite.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The work of art is really great, and the quality, of course, is great, and that's the other thing, because of the loudness, the volume. It really, when you have I have my headphones on and I have my surround sound on, and the voice is really intense, like it's in your head. So it feels right and wrong at the same time. So
sure. Yeah, Jim is that guy is just a really, really talented voice actor. He's also like a pretty good friend of mine, like a very close friend actually. We talk quite a bit, and I mean, if you hear him do different voices, like you wouldn't even be able to tell it's the same person. Like he's really good. Like it's really hard to actually detect when it's his voice. Because he's so good at voice acting.
I don't know what you mean.
Well, hats off to Jim.
Yeah.
Good job on the voicing, definitely.
Definitely, yes. And as
But
I said,
you
it's
had
just the taste.
You had quite a couple of voice actors for your. There were quite a lot of special.
I think the mage is one of the more outstanding ones.
Yeah, I really like
not the mage, the Hemorrhoid Price guy.
Oh yeah, that was Yandros. Yeah.
He sounds amazing as well.
Yeah. That's one of his favorite voices he's done, I think. Just when he says the word brother, like I like it. He's like brother.
I think he does a good mix of like what we know, and still gives us.
Huh?
You know what I mean?
You just cut off.
Your mic cut off again. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It's like I think he did a great mix of like, okay, this is a typical Hemorrhoid voice, but at the same time, he gives it its own flavor, which always is nice. Because I have the experience, at the moment I'm doing some voice acting for a project, and I tried like voices that are really different from the well-known voices of the Thief universe, and the people were like, nah. And then I tried to like recreate voices you already know, and they were all like, oh yeah, that sounds great.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, I think they want something like that. Like a good mix of new but still something you're familiar with.
For sure. Like usually when I do voice acting these days, it's typically either as Guard 2 or as the Kevil voice, which, I mean, I don't know that it's actually named Kevil. That's just what it's become known as, but it's like the wimpy Stephen Russell servant. They usually have me do that voice,
You do pretty well.
Well, yeah, thank you. But I think my favorite part about that servant is his scream, for sure. Like his, oh!
Yeah.
Oh, no!
I love that too.
So good, yeah.
But I think every voice is pretty iconic.
Oh yeah,
they made original voices are amazing, chosen, and they are so memorable. Of course, because we heard them thousands of times so far, but still, I think they are very iconic from the first time.
Every once in a while, like not very often, but every once in a while, even to this day, I'll still hear like a line in some context that I have never heard before, like from a character.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean, but yeah.
Like Like a
Or-
line from the game, like the base game, you mean?
Yeah, like when they're searching around or doing something, or a lot of times I think it's when there's another AI around, because there are special lines for depending on how many like friendly AI are around. Like they'll say different things.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing. People sometimes, cut together things,
Mhm.
and then they sound really new, and you're like, and then you really have to think of, oh no, wait, this is like segments from different lines, and they are rearranged to something new, and this triggers you're like, wait, this is wrong and right, and what is it? But it's a good thing if it makes sense.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I'm doing that quite a bit in the contest entry that's coming out next month in my contest mission.
Oh, we're looking forward.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I put together a Hammerite sermon using stock Hammerite lines, and it loops. It's like 3 or 4 minutes of just stock voice, but it sounds like a sermon put together. It's pretty cool. I'm quite proud of it, actually.
Yeah, we are looking forward to that, and I think
I'm not.
why? Because you are sending out a mission as well. No one's looking forward to that cycle. You know that.
Oh,
No, actually,
Bill's
screenshots
mission
are great.
is Psychos's mission is actually pretty good. I've played it.
I would have loved to see that by myself, but I didn't get the file accidentally. I don't know.
oops.
I don't know why he wants. I don't know why you wanted. I don't know why you wanted me to test. I'm honestly just like an awful
I
tester.
didn't even ask you. I asked everyone, and then you just joined.
And some people asked
Okay.
you to do it.
Drama.
You could join in now.
No,
send you a
no,
link, I
no,
don't
no.
care.
That's too late. I'm working on.
It's only
So
on
you-
version 2, you know.
So you asked everyone except for Supremacy. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Supremacy said like 2 times, "Hey, if you need a beta tester, just call me," and nothing happened.
It's like, nah, man, I'm good.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought I would have had enough, but apparently a lot of people I counted on are actually working on their own stuff.
Oh yeah, and really for a tester, all you need is Marble Man. You just need Marble Man to play through
Yeah,
it. 'Cause-
Marble Man,
Yeah.
Dark Max, but his PC is broke.
Matt 99 actually is
No.
really no. Wait. That's not a joke. I was what was it? The sister or what? I was beta
Mhm.
testing, and Matt he really got.
He really got what?
details.
Sorry,
He,
you might.
he was really mad. Like he found so many details. What's not working? You just doing everything and finding everything, and it was really really good.
Right.
And he made suggestions to the story and blah 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 blah. So yeah,
always with a smile too. I'm sure.
yeah, I know, but I appreciated that. So I didn't have to do so much. So
Anyway, since we branched off from voice actors, I'd also like to, correct me if I'm wrong, shout out to Fen Phoenix for the Mechanist voice, or sorry, the Hammerite priest voice.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. He's.
Oh, he
his-
did your
Brother Merrick?
Hammerite Priest, or
Yeah, he did the hammer voice.
Oh,
his
okay.
his Hammerite voice is like impeccable. It's
Yeah.
really really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
now I'm mixing things up because I was talking about that Hammerite price, and you said it was Yandros.
Oh,
That was a mage.
there's probably multiple, right?
You hear that, Russ? Your hammer actually sucked. So.
Oh,
No,
I mean,
he-
you've already
This is a
talked
really
a lot of smack
dramatic
on him.
episode.
his actually like I honestly think that Russ's hammer, because he does Brother Embry, the Hammerite that's in the swamp in the pagan
Mhm.
village.
Ah,
I actually really do honestly love his Hammerite there. I mean, it's not quite as spot on of a hammer voice as Fenn's voice, of course, but like for what it is, I mean, it's really good, and it has a lot of character, I think.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you want the distinction there, and if
Yeah.
everybody did the the one that we expect,
Yeah.
it would be just all the same. Oh, is this the same guy? No, it's not. Clearly, there are 2 hammers there,
Yeah.
and I love it for it.
Yep.
So yeah, Godbreaker, quite a big mission. Like found a few, and I thought I felt a few influences there. Could you tell us a little bit about which missions, which storylines influenced the creation of Godbreaker.
Maybe in general we can just make a rough description of what the mission series is about, so people
Let's do
maybe
it.
that didn't play have a rough idea what it's about, and then we maybe.
Of course, if anybody hasn't played it, go play it. It's amazing. Don't spoil yourself here.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, so basically the main story is our main character Connell does a job that he ends up kind of coming back to bite him. He robs from the wrong person, essentially, and the person Dennison, right? And
Yep.
so Dennison finds out who took his precious scepter, and is very brutal. Dennison's family is from Blackbrook. They're like from the noble court of Blackbrook, which is like in my world that I've kind of spun off of Thief, Blackbrook is like a really like all the families there are like very like mafia type of people. Like it's a very kind of brutal city.
1930s Chicago.
Yeah, but yeah. And so Dennison's family's from there, pride and reputation and stuff like that. So he's gonna do everything he can to get Connell and make an example out of him. So Connell flees the city. He's also like a collector of maps and lore. He's kind of a lore hound himself, and he's kind of always got something that he can go after, because he spends all his time robbing nobles and getting into old attics. So he finds maps that he thinks are interesting, or old tales and myths, and he collects them and ends up kind of creating missions for himself to go on after whatever object to sell, or to keep, and he decides to go after a sword. He uses the excuse of Dennison's after him, so he's going to leave the city and lay low. So he's going to go after this sword, this mythical sword called Godbreaker. And he's collected enough information to get a good start for where it might be. So that's kind of how the story starts out.
Yeah. So now the inspiration.
Yeah.
I think next you have some suggestions, right?
Yeah. Let me guess here.
Sure.
Batman?
I would say it's always Batman with you. I would guess that you're a big Calendar's Legacy fan.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
I felt like it
Who
was
isn't? Oh,
Except
Psycho and me.
Merkel.
Psycho and Alex. Yeah, I found a few things that reminded me of Calendar's Legacy, and that just increased my love for your mission.
Oh yeah. So Calendar's Legacy, I absolutely, especially love. So it's kind of a bittersweet type of thing, because I tend to absolutely hate undead missions, and
I love you, man.
but then I'll still make them myself. So I'm a bit of a hypocrite. But yeah, Midnight in Merkbell is the city, especially being on Old Dark, is incredibly impressive, and the atmosphere is just like next level. Like you can almost not get better when it comes to Old Dark, except for maybe Dr. K stuff. But like that city is just amazing. Like the way that it's built, and just how everything feels so organic and twisty and maze-like, and it's so Thief. Like it's just Thief. It's like the extreme caricature of Thief, and it's a pity. It's really a pity that I'm such a big fan of Parra. So he was one of my major inspirations, especially Oddman Landfire Hill. So I don't want to say anything bad about him, but like the whole undead portion, I feel like kind of just destroys what could have been like the best mission of all time.
Wait, Rob, we have to talk afterwards.
Okay.
Did you listen by any chance to the? I don't think we mentioned that in the Calendar's Legacy.
I don't think
episode.
you did. I did listen to it, and I don't think you did mention it.
I'm still hoping we're gonna do another. I'll just have to convince Alex.
If I was there, I would have confronted him about it. Don't worry, Rob.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you were sick.
Eh.
Yeah. Anyway, there is a way to do mission 2 without with barely seeing undead.
Really?
Yeah. It's we'll do it in an episode for everybody listening, and for you, Rob, we can maybe talk afterwards a little bit about it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. But
but
no,
yeah.
that is such an impressive building, and it's just there's so much to do and so much to find. Like I remember reading about the little the orbs you can find and being
Oh,
really,
yeah.
I just loved that. You know, all the little things you can find is so great. Yeah.
In mission 4 of Godbreaker, where you have the Veil of Illuse and the
Yes.
Scroll of Dispersal,
Uh-huh.
and getting that to be able to sneak into the church much more sneakily, for lack of words, really put me back into Kalendra's legacy. Even going through the window, I just loved it. And I suppose.
Sorry, go ahead.
I suppose the Veil of Illuse was is a close reference to Karaz Dang from Legacy, right?
Actually, no.
The dagger. Oh.
Well, the name. I mean, yes, it definitely was inspired by Kalendra. And in fact, that whole cathedral is like pretty close to the style of the Kalendra Legacy Cathedral because I loved it. It's got the.
Isn't it like quite literally like almost built?
Yeah.
Like it pretty much like 1-to-1 almost.
Yeah, the outside is.
Yeah.
The inside is not, but the outside is. Yeah.
Did you know that Karaz Drang from Kalendra's Legacy gives you a little bit of invisibility?
No, I didn't know that.
It makes you less visible. It's not invisible, but it makes you less visible. That's why Veil of Illuse was a big reference to me, because again, you had the special weapon which allowed you to turn invisible. I just love that.
Oh,
so that was a coincidence there, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess the Veil of Illuse is more of a extreme version because it actually turns you totally invisible. It's it also saps your health away at the same time, and then the whole like, well, I don't want to spoil it.
I love the fact that you turned health potions into invisibility potions.
There you go. Yeah.
Suddenly collecting food lets you pass certain corridors, let's say.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I really enjoy that part of gameplay.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So maybe we can go a bit in because we're not talking about the last mission. But
okay, so more influences.
I have one general question.
Go ahead.
Or maybe you want to ask your Zelda influence question because I think this is pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. Sorry, Alex. Go ahead.
We have the notes here from Nex, and there is a question like, is it influenced by Zelda? And I didn't think of that, but now that I read the questions, like, that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a pretty giant Zelda fanboy. So
Great.
Yeah, and especially all the music. I mean, there's many Zelda songs that I've used in like most of my missions, really.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I recognize them.
There'll always be typically like a Zelda song. I think there's 3 or 4 in Godbreaker, actually.
Really?
Yeah, and then there's like a song from Donkey Kong Country 2 used in the scene with Merrick where you talk to Merrick in the bar. There's in the background there's the swamp. It's actually the swamp music from Donkey Kong Country 2. Initially I was gonna have that be music in the actual swamp, yeah. But like Yendros played it and was like, no man, no. So
that's cool. No, but I think like it really is a bit like so here my general question comes in. I had the feeling that in general, or maybe was your main idea the swamp mission and you built the others around it? Because you said like you need an introduction mission, you figured. So because I think the whole mission series feels like that it's mostly about the swamp.
Well, yes, and it's also called it's named after the sword that you find in the swamp, which is the main goal. It just like I loved basically when I was finishing the swamp and I was like, I love this character and I want I want to see like what happens to him after he comes back from the swamp.
Yeah.
And so then I got the idea to do missions. Well, I guess there's only one more mission, but there's like the cutscene mission, I guess, and I wanted to do the whole classic thief like switcheroo type of thing.
Yeah.
So that ends up happening, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but and then I had mission 4 was, well, mission 3 was already built.
It's always hard to talk about, like if you have a transition cutscene mission, right?
Right. Yeah. So the third actual, I had already built it. Most of it. I think most of it except for like the cathedral section, and I kind of abandoned it a while ago because it was going to be the next in the Memento Mori series that I was working on, and I just could never get it off the ground as far as like story goes, because I honestly just didn't know where I was even going with the story with that, which is why I haven't worked on it. But I was like, I love this city that I've made, and I don't want to stay, so I decided to just bring it in and have it as like the final mission of Godbreaker.
Yeah. So, and the introduction mission came at last, or
actually
was it
that was the very first thing I finished. I worked on the swamp first, but I didn't. I built it up like probably halfway, and I was like, okay, I need like an intro mission. So I went back and made a small intro mission, and then actually I released that for beta. I think 2 years before Godbreaker came out.
Jeez.
Something like that, and it passed beta, and then by the time the mission was built, I had to go back and change up some stuff in the intro mission to fit with everything.
Yeah. So, but in general, I think if you think of the Godbreaker series, the swamp is stuck in your mind, because this is really a thing. Like, I hate everything about it, and I love everything about it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's pretty hard if you don't, especially if you're going into it for the first time, about all of the new enemies and stuff. Like,
nah, actually not that. But first of all, there are people that like or hate settings, and swamp missions are one. I think next year with me, swamp missions are like the worst thing you can do to make me happy. But on the same time, and that's what I love. You put so much stuff in there that is interesting and new, or at least not very often seen. That every time you get excited and curious what is next. And a little spoiler, like there's a nest from insects, and I don't like that, but I love it. It's like, okay, I hate everything about this, but it's so different and done in a way that I haven't seen before. And of course, you use many new models. So it's exciting, and so it's like a good marriage,
I really wanted to make the swamp feel like very hostile. Like I want it to feel like alien, and like everything there wants to kill you. Like even the plants want to kill you. Everything wants to kill you.
That's one of the other things I wanted to talk about later.
Sure.
It's like Australia.
Yeah, because it's just like Australia, basically. Yeah, Goldwell, if you're listening, the swamp was built, basically where you live.
Yeah, he felt home, right?
Yeah. But yeah, the moth models are probably my favorite thing about the swamp. The Elvis, the Russian
No,
guy,
the flying lamps, the flying candle. How do you call them?
Oh, the Lost Soldiers. That was a Zelda thing. Yeah.
But
you're cutting off, Alex?
You're cutting your mic again.
Yeah, maybe it's not. I don't know what it is.
It's probably the
Discord
mic connection. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I just have one. Oh, now it's green again. Like the section, it's really split into sections, I think, and I think you had that in mind when you were working on it. That's how it feels, but still it feels natural. And you remember every spot, like, okay, this is this area, I remember that for that, and then I go to the other one, and this is the area I keep in mind. For example, there's like a hemorrhoids. Expect one, which is like just so simple, but it stuck in your head. It's like, yeah, that's a cool thing. And I really love that. But how was your mindset on that? Was that all your plan from the beginning, or did it, during the work progress? How is your working progress? I think we asked that Skaki, for example, and I think it's interesting to hear.
I almost never plan stuff totally out. It's always organic. It's always like I just build, and then like the story like evolves as I'm building. Basically, is how I always work. I'm with my next project. I'm trying to plan more, but since I'm not used to it, it's very difficult for me. And I also, no plan that I make is ever concrete either, because they always change, like every time.
You're a musician, right?
Yeah.
So you're an artist. I think that's a typical way of doing things, and I think that this makes sense. I know how it is because well, and I think if I would do missions, I think it would turn out the same. So I can really relate to you in that.
Sure. Yeah. The one more influence that I imagine you probably didn't catch that I just wanted to bring up. One of my favorite authors is Gene Wolfe. Has anybody ever read Gene Wolfe at all?
Nope.
Okay. He died a couple years ago, but he's like a science fiction author. He wrote a series called The Book of the New Sun. Actually, Para is the reason I even started reading Gene Wolfe, because you can tell with his writing style that he is a big fan. Like with Anthony's books that he's written, like you can definitely tell that he loves Gene Wolfe. Which is, how I got into Gene Wolfe. And there's a scene in one of his books where he talks about going through this forest where there's these giant man-sized moths that whisper things.
Okay.
And that whisper things, like whisper things like men do. And for some reason, that one sentence, like, just really captured my imagination and is what led to the giant moths. And actually, if you alert them, you can hear like words, like they're saying stuff, but you can't really understand it.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that's actually audio from Indrid Cold in the Mothman Prophecies film. Like I took the voice from the telephone in that movie and like really scrambled it up so you couldn't understand it.
Amazing.
Cool. I always like when authors know stuff when they talk about their influences, because I think that says a lot about you then, and that's cool.
If you have Anthony back on, I would love to talk to that guy, but ask him about
everyone loves to
ask him about Gene Wolfe.
Let's not talk about this maybe situation, because people would be like, oh yeah, and we don't want to spread hope,
Sure.
So only despair.
Next, I gave you the opportunity to make a poll, but you didn't. So, but yeah, back to the Godbreaker thing.
I also like really making AI take care of each other, which is a theme you might have noticed in, like, if you are careful and you listen and pay attention to the different things in the swamp. Like, I like making multiple ways to complete things, and I do it in the intro mission too. Like, if the thieves are too hard to sneak around, you can make noise and have them fight the guards, and then you can get rid of some AI that way. Or if you don't, like, for instance, the Cray Temple, there's a way to sneak around that temple without even having to sneak. I don't know, probably a lot of people didn't even find it, I would imagine. Unless you blackjack things, you would never find it. But there is
so that's my part.
So there is a way to walk around the temple. It's without even making Craze angry at all.
I know.
Yeah,
I think we should be able to spoil at least a little bit.
Okay.
Because this is a fun thing that we'd like to talk about. So you've put in a crazy guy that's been referenced by other characters in the mission too, as the face changer.
Yes.
And I've actually spent a lot of time. I think it was 2 nights of playing before I reached the Crayman Temple, and Alex and Psychosis will know that I'd never knock out things. I really hate really crowded places, and the mission worked perfectly for me until I came to the Crayman Temple, and when I came there, I thought this was my only way forward. And I was writing to Psycho and Alex like, oh damn it, I really hate the crowdiness there. And then Psycho was like, there's this, like, this is the only thing he wrote to me. He was like, there's a what do you say? There's an insane guy in the swamp that blah 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 lets you not aggro those guys. And I think I had follow-up questions for him, but he said nothing, right? Which totally was.
I didn't want to
was
spoil
totally
you, you know?
You're right, but it was totally in line with the craziness-inducing swamp that I was in, because like this is one of the influences I wanted to. Were you influenced by like Vietnam style films in creating this swamp, like Apocalypse Now?
Well, I mean, I love the film, but I mean, I don't know that it was a direct inspiration. If it was, it was probably more like subconscious, because I didn't mean to do that.
Because between the whispering moths and the snakes hissing and the flies running around, ape beasts, I was moving so slowly through that jungle, always listening to things, and at times I did feel like, and then Psycho goes, there's an insane guy in the swamp that gives you this. I'm like, I didn't see. Am I going crazy?
Yeah. So the guy in the swamp is actually, I think maybe my mic is cutting out a little bit.
It did, yes.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Let me just disconnect and reconnect again. Hang on.
All right. Cue the music.
For some reason, I don't know why that seems to fix it, but anyway.
Sometimes with the Discord. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
With my other podcast, we have that problem a lot.
Yeah. So the crazy guy in the swamp is not the face changer. That guy is actually hiding from the two thieves that are scoping out his cabin. He was like he like kind of did something similar and left the city just like Connell did. Like he robbed the wrong people, if you read his diary. So he's hiding from these two thieves that have tracked him down to the swamp. And he encounters this being who's basically like this chaotic god that lives in another realm called the Face Changer. And
I thought the thieves were, sorry to interrupt, I thought the thieves were the ones that actually wrote the diary that you find where the thieves are.
I could see why you'd think that, but when you read the diary, and he talks about like getting the way to walk around, because he talks about being able to walk around the temple too and hide his vase that he stole. So you can get his, the little payment that he made with the Face Changer. And then I don't know if, I don't want to spoil too much, I guess, but there is a way to get to the Face Changer's realm. I don't know if you all found it, but you can actually get to the Face Changer's realm, and there's it kind of exists like almost outside of time in a sense, because when you go around some of the trees there, you can see some paintings that are on the wall that are actually like prophetic. Some of them are from the past, and some of them are from the future of what's about to happen in the campaign.
Which was totally, again, in line with that craziness, because I got to that place because I thought the quest that lets you lets you reach that place. I thought that was the way I'm gonna get the Face Changer's mask. because it says like in the diary, it says like, I know the way to call him, and then you get a certain hints in another note which is nearby, and I thought that was the way. And instead of getting this mask, I was ported into the temple into some temple with pictures that like you said were prophetic, and they were a little bit crazy. The whole scene there is crazy. It was crazy, and it was. It's like losing your mind in the swamp. Yeah. Definitely.
Yep. That was definitely what I was trying to go for, and I haven't decided if the Face Changer will make more appearances. They might, but like some of the trailers for the mission, I think one of the trailers that I did for Godbreaker was in the Face Changer's voice, I believe, And it's just like the face changer reading, like saying crazy things while the camera goes around the swamp a little bit. And I did the face changer's voice.
Well, I don't know about the character itself. I'd like to see more of that, of course. But what I would really love to see more, or actually try for the first time, because I never found the face changer's mask, is the disguise mechanic that you implemented in your mission, which a lot of the stealth missions have, but we rarely see this in Thief. I think Thief 1 had one mission like that, and I think a couple of missions had this implemented, and it does give you a whole new, let's say, level of gameplay, perspective, and an option to go around.
Yeah, and because of the way the engine works, it's also a little buggy. So like, because basically all it's doing is swapping teams. Like you're just swapping the AI, the team of the AI when you put the mask on and take it off. But the problem is if they see you like, and they're still kind of close by, if you take off the mask and they're not looking at you, they're still aware of where you are. So like all of a sudden they'll start freaking out if you take the mask off, even if they're not looking at you. So
that was really annoying.
yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's not. I'm just saying. It's when you are in a room, like, okay, now I can take it off and grab something or whatever, and then you hear the voice. But then, as soon as you put it on again, it's like, okay, we're cool. Nothing's wrong.
I guess like the sort of hand wave is just that they're dumb bugs.
Yeah.
So
when we are like, I think before we release it, I think I will post everywhere that this is a spoiler warning everywhere.
We do it with every mission.
I have one question because I couldn't figure it out. When you are at the first section in the swamp, there are those those ruins, those old houses, and there's the first two ones, like on when you have the water in the back.
Yes,
there are two houses. The right one, there are those two monkey guards sleeping.
Yes,
and in the other house you can go up, and then you can look out of the window. And the first time, and I was looking over the swamp, over the water, and then I saw that that silhouette of a person behind a tree.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I going crazy? So I went out of the house and to that place, but there was no one. So I reloaded, and then I went back up to the house, looked out of the window, and then I jumped out of the window so that I don't lose eyesight with him. So, and then he ran away. There definitely was something, so I wasn't crazy. But and then he ran off to a cave which you couldn't enter. But what is that about? Is that mentioned somewhere? Is there a hint I didn't get? Or
yeah, there's a picture of him in the witch's hut. She talks about. I think she talks about him. She's talking about the face changer. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The thief journal makes a reference to him.
Okay.
It's a Bigfoot. It's a Sasquatch. That's what it is. Like.
Okay.
Because like if you
to me it looked just like a human, So I was wondering.
I think it's an ape beast.
Yeah, it's an ape beast. If you actually were able to stand next to it, it would be about twice as tall as you are.
Huh.
Okay.
It's hard to tell from that distance, but it's like if you just kind of look at the spot on the tree where its head is reaching, and then you like kind of keep that in mind and walk up to it, you'll notice that he's way bigger than you. Yeah.
But it was really amazing implemented, because you just look outside, and then it's like, what is that? And because you did a really great thing with the perspective, it's really just the silhouette you see. And this works amazingly. And this is like with that old engine, which is all blocky and stuff. But to create something like that was really impressive. So, good job there.
Well, thank you. And you can hear, there's definitely, like you can hear you can hear the Bigfoot like making calls in the distance, like throughout the mission. Like you can hear him like every once in a while.
That's what those were. Okay.
I remember it like it sounded like a bit Chewbacca like.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like a something like
I
that?
just like wave that off to being like a generic animal, but
No, he does like a wah.
yeah.
Waved it up.
Yeah. So
At that
that is an actual okay, like that is an actual alleged. I'd say alleged because it probably fake, but it's an alleged recording from a YouTube channel of a guy that's like trying to track down Sasquatch, and he claims to have these audio recordings, and so I just took that actual sound and threw it in there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like another influence, just
Yeah, I love crypto stuff and like world mysteries and cryptozoology. I love all that stuff. I don't necessarily believe it all, but I think it's interesting and entertaining to learn about.
Yeah.
It's a nice story, if not anything else.
Right. Exactly.
So, and the Earth is flat.
Well, you didn't know?
I of course I know. Look at Thief.
Yeah.
Only Thief do.
Everything is no, good one. No, I forgot my question. So someone help me out. That's why I have those backups here. So please.
A few more. Let's say influences or references. Was the swamp, or more specifically the moth lair, moth hive, influenced at all by Half-Life 1?
So, no. But I also have a terrible admission to make in that I've never played it.
Okay, so it can't even be subconsciously.
Yeah.
See you next time, people.
I've played through Half-Life 2 many times. In fact, my daughter and I really like to play through the synergy, like the co-op Half-Life 2 mod where you can like co-op with a friend. We do that quite a bit actually.
Okay.
But I never played through Half-Life 1, and I should at some point.
Yeah, because it felt like
the new project is coming out for Half-Life. What is it called?
The one with like Alex. Yeah.
No. I don't mean
Oh,
that.
he means
Half-Life
the,
1 remake. It's now in beta, I think.
I forget what it's called.
Wait, it's the
Black Mesa, something like
the
that.
Black
right?
Mesa, right? That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I might wait for that then.
Yeah, maybe.
See.
I mean, it's not an official remake, but
But it's supported by Valve.
it's
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fan project, but
Interesting,
they
'cause
recreated
one has
that, and
already
I
been
think they
made.
improved a lot of the boring stuff in the alien world, as far as I know. So,
Okay.
yeah, wait for that maybe.
Yeah, I loved Half-Life 2. Like I loved the hell out of it. The
Yeah.
only problem I have with it is just when you play it nowadays, like there's way too many loading screens. But yeah,
But there are patches for that, I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was the same with Portal then, and
Yeah.
but they made a better way with the elevators. So, but that's not our topic today. What
Yep.
was Portal an influence for you?
Was what an influence?
No, Portal.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, everything was an influence, right?
Yeah.
So so we don't have to argue with all those specific detail questions. What? I have 50 Shades of Grey. What's 50 Shades of Grey an influence for you?
Yes, actually, this mission started out as a 50 Shades of Grey fan fiction.
I'm just drinking.
So
I nearly spit at my microphone.
yeah.
That was a joke, right?
It was no, it was so Connell was like a character that I came up with in my DeviantArt account, and there was some craze involved, and eventually it got too hot for TV, so I had to sort of censor it, and I eventually just opted for like the joke book on the ladies' nightstand.
Yeah. So since we're here, let's talk about some funny things that you've inserted into the mission. There's also another one called The Lusty Agronian Maid, Volume 1.
Yeah, I if I could do it again, I would make it like Volume 4 or something that doesn't actually exist in the Elder Scrolls,
Oh, so this is another reference. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I figured everybody would know. So I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan, and a lot of people will kind of crap on me for that because
he defends Skyrim. Yeah,
I do defend Skyrim. Yep.
I love Skyrim is amazing.
I think so too, and the people who think it's bad are just wrong. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
but
just
those
wrong.
guys mostly love Thief 1 as well. So
That's true.
Yeah. No, but Skyrim was amazing, especially with the add-ons. I like them as well.
Oh yeah, I can't play it unmodded.
No, I mean the official expansions, the
Oh,
DLCs.
right,
I
right.
like them as well. But we're losing track here, but it's cool.
Sorry.
My
it's
favorite
good.
funny readable was the I now identify as a Burrick one. I think.
Edward D. Burrick.
Yeah.
So all right.
I had
so
to stop playing for 5 minutes.
yeah, that one. So okay, let me go
It's a bit
into the
spicy.
let me
Yeah.
go into the joke of that one, because I think some folks kind of took it the wrong way. It wasn't intended to be like a commentary on like, anything like trans. Basically what it was supposed to be is it was supposed to be like, we're about to talk about something really serious and uncomfortable, and we're going to bring this topic into Thief. We're going to make it really super serious and uncomfortable, and it's going to be a meaningful thing. But then it's like, oh no, it's just silly. He thinks he's a Burrick. Like that. That's the joke, basically.
He identifies as.
Yeah.
Should we?
I make you think that that he's about to talk about something controversial. Then it ends up.
Should we
being
read it out?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to, you can.
Isn't it
Could-
like, pretty long?
Could you read it out for us, Random
You want me
Taffer?
to read it? Okay.
I just
But
linked
why
it in
do
the
you
channel.
force our guest?
So okay, it's Nex has posted it, so it's not like I have it memorized here. Dear Esther, I'm leaving. I cannot keep living a lie. I know this marriage was very important to you and your family, and I'm sorry. I have left enough so that you should be able to live comfortably until you find another husband. Where I'm going, I won't need gold. 36 years ago, I was born into the wrong body. Esther, I am not a man. I know I look it, but I'm not. And this is the point. That people are like, oh, we're going there. We're going to talk about it. And then I go, instead of going the serious route, I just go, I'm a Burrick.
I love that.
Madame Rose helped me understand my true form through past life regressions. My third eye was opened, and now, with the help of Brian, my spectral frog beast spirit guide, I see much further than I could before. I know you won't understand, but I need to seek my destiny. I will journey into the wilderness and begin living my life as a Burrick. Best wishes and farewell, Edward.
I wonder if there would be a mechanist machine that could fulfill his wishes.
It's a shame
Yeah.
you didn't have him in the
I-
swamp.
I have an idea. If you
I actually
ever
thought
go
about
on,
it,
if you ever go on with that story in another mission, Nex and me, we can make amazing Metal Beast voices. Maybe you heard that, and
don't
just
remember
hire
that.
us in the bank mission. In the bank mission, we recreated the conversation between those little metal beasts.
Oh, I must have missed that one. You should do it for me.
No, we can't. No, you can't
So it's a one-time
celebrate
thing.
the same party twice.
Okay. All right.
We're
Just
losing
for the
listeners.
episode
Sorry.
of the bank heist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
a lot of people thought that the readable was funny, but then there were some folks that didn't appreciate it as much, and I honestly felt kind of bad because I didn't intend for it to be
that
the
was
way they took
American
it.
people, I
Yeah.
guess.
There's always going to be someone like that.
Americans are always offended.
Actually wasn't an American, but I won't
Okay.
go any further.
Oh, that's
Well,
offends me.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, I think this is something, that's humor. It's not about the topic; it's about the joke.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I love Ricky Gervais for calling out that all the time, and it's like it's really clever because you are building up something,
Right.
and then. Because if you would have addressed it in a serious manner, there would be way more criticism.
Oh yeah.
Because people would say you get it wrong or something like that. But
Right,
you just aim for that topic to just make people think of it, and then you go a totally different way.
Exactly.
And what I like is, sorry, but I want to finish that. Like the second part of the letter is like something which is, in my opinion, a way more serious topic. Where it's just my interpretation, but it's like someone was influenced by something like, I'm not a big fan of religion.
Sure.
because of the manipulation of people and stuff. No offense, because I know religion is a good thing for people if it helps them and if they do good with that, great. But
Mhm.
it's not for me. But I think that it's like that he is influenced by someone. And this could be another level of interpretation of that. And I think this letter is actually pretty clever.
Yeah, I'm so just like full disclosure, I would definitely, like, people that know me personally, like I would say that I am a religious person, but I also don't like manipulation of people either. So that's kind of what I'm addressing, yeah, in the second part of the letter there. Yeah.
So you're a religious person, and then you
Yes.
make a mission that is named Godbreaker.
Yeah. Yep. Basically, because technically the trickster is a god, and he was broken by this weapon.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah.
no, I don't know.
It wasn't like a subconscious, like anything like that. Yeah, no.
But that's art, I think missions
I'm
are art.
It was
not
quite
wearing.
literal. Yeah.
I'm not wearing a fedora right now or anything like that. And so
Your rose cottage in your hand, and yeah. No, but a great letter, and one of the examples.
Indeed.
I think the readables in general are pretty good and interesting, and not too long. That is something I really like. That they are all pretty to the point.
even
the lore readables about forging of Eldin's armor,
Yeah.
forging of the Godbreaker.
Okay,
Yeah.
exceptions. But
So
in general, the readables were, in my opinion, they were enjoyable.
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed writing because I like reading ancient writing. There's actually a few in jokes that people who read, old text will notice that I did in some of the lore. But like one of the things that I'm going to address when I release the version 2, and also what I'm doing with my next missions, is when there is a book that is lore and you don't actually need it to know the information to complete any of your goals, when you pick it up in capitals before the actual title of the book, it's going to say lore. That way they know that this is something you can read to enjoy, but you don't have to read it.
That's a very
I
good
don't
idea.
know.
Yeah.
I think that's a very
don't
good
like that
idea.
idea.
No?
Well, like there
I
are
like it.
people that
This is
really
like
hate
this is like for modern stuff, and I
Yeah.
think
breaking the fourth wall.
yeah, first of all, that it's like, of course, it's funny sometimes, but
Well, it's not. I wouldn't say it's really breaking the fourth wall, because it's definitely lore in the game. Like Connell would be like, "Oh, this is lore," So
Yeah.
I don't know. But I know people like Psychosis who don't read. Wouldn't like.
yeah, and you can tell that, but maybe you don't. You see it as a
like
different thing, so maybe you inspire him to read.
my compromise is, like, if it's not important, I don't make it carryable.
You don't read. It's okay, man. It's
Oh,
fine.
well, that too.
It's-
But I'm as an author, but all right.
Yeah, you
I
don't
make
read.
it like not
you just-
carryable.
You just like message me and ask me what the
Yeah,
I
I
think-
was bugging you.
I
whole
think
time I was
that
playing.
the art behind that is, so you make people read it, is like that you make the readable enjoyable, and maybe coming, and you come to the point. You don't. That we talked about this already some episodes
Yeah,
ago.
but-
Like there are readables, that are 10 pages, and on page 7 there's that one little hint that might be interesting to you, and the rest is just like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so this is your mission then, to aim for a good readable that is enjoyable, that has everything in it I need for the progress, or it's not important for my progress or to find something, but it's interesting to read because I like the lore and I like the background stories and maybe
Mhm.
things that happen. So,
You make a
aim
good
for
point,
that.
but there's a big division in what people expect from the authors. There are players that they enjoy reading, they enjoy the atmosphere, but the readables are not that important. I think we even had a couple of threads going about this, and there was a
Yeah.
poll at one time.
And then they
And-
should play Sims.
Well, no, we wanna keep the
gameplay
community
flow
that we
going.
have, right?
Yeah,
But I think after 20 years, you don't have to come up with something like that because
Well,
it worked before.
It did. I think the reason I was thinking of doing it this way is just because it's kind of a happy medium. Because I want the lore. I love writing it. It's like my favorite. I love reading well-written readables and thief missions and other games. Like I love lore, and I want to keep that in my missions. But I don't want people who, who hate reading long readables to have to read it. So I guess
Indeed,
that's
yeah. Because it's all subjective, and we all have our own favorite missions. And for my favorite missions, I would read 10 pages. Sometimes it's like I wish there was more written for this mission. Let's say Calandra's Legacy. If you put Alex in Calandra's Legacy, I'm sure you would not enjoy reading this much. And I would hate for the author to have to make the compromise of shortening the readables just because somebody would not like to read it. And I think implementations like the one Rob mentioned is something that can satisfy both
But I think
sides.
if we three we agree on Psychosis next and me, we all agree on that readables should be on point and not lose track and not do so much unnecessary stuff, right?
I would agree, except if you're making one of my favorite missions. So that's immediately and that favorite mission is not going to be your favorite mission. So I've never thought of this, but I like this idea. I mean,
because I don't like so much readables in general. It doesn't matter if I love the story or the lore, but it always, because mostly I play Thief, of course, for the Thief gameplay, and I like readables. But as I described them, I like them to the point. I like them if they are like 3-4 pages. That's cool. But if you lose track, I think, I don't know, then it's just mumbling around. Get to the point. And I can imagine that most people would agree with me. Of course, there are others, and you can make everyone happy. But I think if you put something inside, like this is lore, you maybe people would miss the opportunity to read something interesting because they think, oh, this is not lore, but I think it's boring. Or maybe you can get the impression like, okay, the author knew that what is important and what not, but maybe he's self not sure what to present you. You know what I mean?
From the author's side, I'd say you wouldn't miss the opportunity, because if the author wanted to make to do it in a style that you described, he would just cut that big readable out.
Yeah, but maybe if it's not if there's no indicator, I would read it anyways. So because there could be lore in it or something important, so I read it. And maybe
right?
if it wouldn't be indicated to me, I would miss something that I would have enjoyed, but because of this indication, or the not indication, because it's not lore, I don't read it, and maybe then I miss something. This can give me a different mindset, and on the other hand, it seems a bit gamey to me.
I don't know. I like it. We'll have to agree to disagree, maybe talk about this in more detail further on. But
I think it's an interesting discussion about.
Definitely, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's make a
so we'll make a poll. Let's go back to what did we start talking about this? The funny readables. Yeah. There's also another funny readable that I actually had struggled to read, but in Mission 4 in police station, there's a note from one of the guards about the diamonds, and I was like, Jesus Christ, I really had to read it out loud.
Yeah, he's terrible at writing, and so he I don't know what I was doing there. Actually, that was kind of like I got some pushback on that quite a bit, actually, because it's like I can't read this, but it's supposed to be, he's writing it as he would say it.
See, I'm not really like a fan of that.
Yeah.
I don't think people would write like in their accent, I feel like.
Well, there's so this actually is kind of related to the last discussion we had, because I think actually Tanner and I have had this debate where he will write it in sort of the way they talk, but he'll write it so everybody could read it. Like he'll write it with like apostrophes in the right place to, like, if you were writing a book, basically. But my point of view is that the person would write it as they would write it. You wouldn't be reading a filtered version of it. But of course, his is useful because the reader can understand it easier, because it's like,
I mean, if it's not too much, I found that little thing enjoyable. It's only 3 sentences, but yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to follow the story and in that way, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, help me out here.
Yeah.
But just
yeah.
one, yeah, and it's
But
not
I
even
think
that important.
this is something like, in many games you would have maybe like audio files to find, and in Thief, of course, it's readables. So
Right. yeah.
I think this is something for the atmosphere. It's like the thing like, oh, I hear someone coming, or someone is laughing about something, and they write like 3 lines of more ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Of course, it's stupid that they do this,
Yeah.
but this adds to the lore, to the feeling, and I think it kind of makes sense.
It's audio log syndrome is what we call it in the other servers and forums. And I tried to actually avoid that for the most part in this campaign, because I've definitely been guilty of it before, and people making thief missions have been guilty of audio log, where it's like, why would they write this? They would just say it. It's like it's the Monty Python joke. Like, he wouldn't write he'd just say it. It's that type of thing. But yeah.
I think we had that again. Sometimes it's just a game.
Yeah.
Of course, this is totally the opposite to my to the former discussion and my point. But
I think the biggest instance of audio log that I have in this campaign would be the thief's diary in the cabin. But I think I got a pass on that because he's kind of starting to go crazy. So he's starting to write, to himself because he has nobody else to talk to.
Yeah. Of course, and this adds character too. Then you get a good point of view of his mindset.
And he says like one of the best curses that I think, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I feel like Builder's Balls in all caps is an excellent curse and should be used more in fan missions.
Yes, agreed.
Builder's Balls.
Ball.
Psychosis is taking notes, I hear.
There's an in joke there. Never mind.
Yeah, ball.
Yeah.
Anyway, to talk a little bit more about because we haven't touched mission 4 in as great a detail as we did mission 2, but for the mission 2, we talked a little bit about the face changer. You said you were thinking about bringing him back.
Yes.
This is one of the characters that I would really love to hear more about it.
Mhm.
I am quite confused, or let's say mystified by this, and I think this was your goal in this mission, to create this. We don't know who he is, and there's a readable from I think it's a swamp witch.
Yes.
Which goes,
who is the sister of the witch that lives in the city.
Indeed, in the inner guidance shop.
Yep.
And this
Oh,
readable
that's why
in
you could
this,
see her hut. Okay.
Right.
yeah.
You can
And this
see,
is-
you can see back and forth in the crystal balls.
Mhm.
Like when you look at them,
Yeah.
you can see the city place, and then if
Yeah.
you look in the city place, you can see the swamp place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can you comment on this? I'm going to read out a readable from the witch.
Sure.
She writes, "He who walks between worlds, whose shape is all shapes, whose face is all faces. Once I've glimpsed you, twice I've heard you, thrice I've felt your presence in the night when all is black and hidden from sight. Like a half-remembered dream, terrible and beautiful, I am yours. So what's up with witch and the face changer?"
Okay.
We don't want to hear too much, or we still want to have it mystified, but it seems
So-
like a...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, so the witch is certainly like sort of how the pagans are disciples of the trickster. The witch is this swamp witch has kind of moved out to the swamp, I will say, because she is definitely like a disciple of the face changer, because the face changer is like a lesser chaotic god who doesn't really how do I describe this? Like basically chaos personified is the face changer. Like you never know what you're gonna get. It can take any shape, and the shape that it seems to favor right now during Godbreaker is the shape of a pagan child wearing a tree beast mask. Like that's the shape that it takes. But
wow.
you can kind of see it. Like there's a picture of it standing at the foot of Connell's bed when you go
Jesus
and
Christ.
Yeah. So, and it's standing at the foot of his bed, like wearing the tree beast mask, like watching him sleep, essentially. So, yeah, there's that, but it's basically, yeah, it's chaos. It's chaos personified. You never know what you're going to get when you encounter it. Other than, if you offer it a copy of your own face, it will give you a copy of whatever face you want. So you can name like any face of anything, of any living creature, and you could and as long as you give it a copy of your own face to use, it'll give you whatever that is, and then you can wear that and become whatever that is whenever you're wearing that face. Yeah.
I'm curious. This all sounds nice and beneficial for both parties, but is this some sort of deal with the devil?
Yes.
Interesting.
Certainly.
I absolutely love this character, and I do hope you bring it back in the following missions.
Yeah, I haven't really worked too much more with it yet, but I'm kind of planning to bring it into the next campaign, Connell campaign that we're working on. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Would you, Alex, like to add anything about the face changer? Maybe psychosis?
I have to admit that I didn't pay so much attention to the face changer thing because for
Same.
me it was, I don't know. For me it didn't feel so important. I know it was mentioned so much, but for me it felt like it's too much. So it was not mysterious enough for me anymore. Like other things where like the now I know it's like a Bigfoot thing or whatever, but this came to my mind. Or why is everything fighting me, and why do the pagans allow a hemorrhoid priest in their village and stuff like that, because they are just like a statement. But the other thing is like, that for me it was too much hype.
Huh.
And I think this is because of my natural. I didn't like Matrix because everyone liked it, or Avatar, So because everyone was talking about it, and then I'm like, I don't know why, but then I'm like, yeah, I find my own cool stuff, and
Like, why are the snakes biting me?
Well,
No.
I think you're correct about Avatar. I just think it's a very underwhelming and average film. I think it's Pocahontas in space, essentially. I mean, you can only use this
And
story.
Pocahontas was amazing.
Yeah, you can always use the same story and themes, so many times before they get regurgitated, and that's fine. That's just like the
hero's journey.
Yeah.
That's
Campbell. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Matrix. The first Matrix is excellent. I love it. The follow-ups are terrible.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about the movies. I just wanted to point out why the face changer was not so important to me. Or maybe it was too much. Maybe there was not so much mystery. And now that you say, okay, you will add him maybe a different time and a different campaign, he can be an interesting side character or a mystery, whatever. But if you overdo it, I don't know. People like me, I lose interest then.
I think you're right, and I definitely wouldn't want to do it. I would always want to keep the mystery there because you never want to reveal everything. Like that's a Lovecraft thing. You never want to reveal everything. But the face changer does have a TTLG account, by the way, and it has made exactly one post. So
dum, dum.
I love you.
Does he talk about grapes?
No?
He just kept going on about Dewdrop, actually.
No, plumsies.
So, but yeah, no, there is exactly one post by the face changer, I believe, but that's it. So
amazing. I mean, I'd like to defend the face changer. Yes, it was mentioned a couple of times, but never were the answers given. Like, it only posed more and more questions for me. And
but that maybe is the problem. Like triggering you, like to something.
Leave
like,
face stranger
like
alone.
a girl, she sends you like maybe a picture of a part of her bra, and but you never get to see her fully naked or what.
Okay.
You know, unless the police comes. That was an insider. But
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, but it was good. There were many great things in the background. But but here's one thing I have to complain about. Where I was really disappointed because I like the eye flowers. Because they were always friendly, but they were creepy. But I have a soft spot for disabled people. Like and they were my friends because they don't harm you, never. But here, I walk up through those tunnels.
Here's Alex.
Then,
Hey, little
and then I
flower.
watch it, and hey, it's like everything wants to kill you in there. And then it was like, finally something creepy, but I know it's then it spits on you. Like why, my friend? We've been buddies for years, and now you're shooting at me. What is that? I hated that. That was the most disappointing part of the whole campaign.
Literally unplayable.
Yeah, actually, 0 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, shit out of 10. So, to be honest, like, and kind of defending what you're saying there, I kind of agree. I probably look a little bit differently. That way, the player wouldn't be, would maybe suspect that they might act a little bit differently because they look exactly the same. So any player that's familiar with Thief, which, I mean, let's face it, if you're playing a fan mission, you're familiar with Thief, so they're going to expect them to be friendly. So it's going to come as a big shocker when all of a sudden they're dead.
But in line with that craziness inducing swamp that I mentioned earlier, I felt like it was a nice thing because I felt like the mission to put a lot of things on its head kind of reversed it. Where's my notes? Let me read it out. So a lot of like the enemies that you thought were friendly were now unfriendly and shooting at you. Things that previously you didn't have to worry about snakes or flying moths
following mosquito swarms.
Yeah, it kind of reversed it again. I also found it funny that the character's voice was Sean Connery, which I remember mostly from the gentlemanly James Bond, right?
Yeah.
And now you have this gentleman running through the swamp, right?
Yeah.
And another reversal was that suddenly, because I'm not a fan of swamps, but I did enjoy it. When you go into the Glimmer Grove and you find the Hammerite, I was never happy to see Hammerites, but this time it was like finally something familiar, right? And it was like a couple of those things that were turned on its head that I grew to appreciate.
I think we mentioned that in another episode as well, that sometimes, like especially the Hammerites, because I think as a player you always have like a mixed feeling for the Hammerites. Like because they helped you at one point, and they are not that bad. Especially after the Mechanists, you got to know them. The Hammerites always seemed like, okay, they're religious nerds, but they don't harm so much. But and that's always a cool thing. And I think there's definitely a word somewhere for that.
There is some, like the Hammerites over. Sorry, hang on.
You cut off. Yeah.
Hang on.
Epic.
You're
sorry about that. So the Hammerites,
it's a running gag. So
the Hammerites are very strict. If you listen to the interviews of the original devs talking about them, they're supposed to be kind of like a Rosicrucian sort of like cult type of thing. But then later on in the Thief series, you get introduced to more nuance actually with them when it comes to at the end they end up being correct about the trickster, and then you have characters like Inspector Drept from Thief Deadly Shadows, who is clearly more of like a reasonable, he's a Hammerite, and he credits the Hammers for saving him essentially, but at the same time he's not like throwing his brain out the window. I mean, he's an inspector, he's a detective type of character.
He's
So.
the one who's going after the hag, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always loved the Inspector Drept character.
Yep, me too. You
yeah.
have sympathies with him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think there is a word like, if you come to a place that you normally wouldn't like, but under the circumstances, this is like coming home. Something.
Strange Bedfellows is the.
What and that's the other way around, and I think that made it so interesting because I imagined it like if you wouldn't have changed, the insects, for example, if everything would be standard, I think this would have been a really good, but just another swamp mission.
Yeah.
I think that the whole atmosphere, or a lot of it, comes just from the environmental stuff, what you present, like, and of course it's always interesting if you have like a familiar thing. Of course, the insects are based on those, how are they called? The green ones. Of course, that this is the standard stuff, but you add something to it, and then the nest and everything, and suddenly it becomes a new thing, an interesting thing, and you did that through the whole mission, and then in the fourth or third mission, whatever the third playable mission, you did the same, that you add a unique twist to it. Like at the beginning where you are like half dead. Like where you are dying inside. On the other hand, it was totally annoying because you black out. And,
oh my god!
And I hated it, but I loved it. It's like, yeah, you are amazing at giving me mixed feelings about everything.
Yeah, so that whole section, I knew that was going to be another instance of like that was going to be like some people are going to really love it and some people are going to hate it and some people are going to be a mixture of both. I wanted to do it because it fit the story and it added a new challenge, but at the same time I wanted to keep it really short. But it gives that same sort of timed feeling that Calendra gives, which I hate. But once you figure, it gives you that like feeling of like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to rush and do this. But I wanted to keep it really short and simple and quick, so that it wouldn't be totally overwhelming.
The good thing is, I like it when an author gives you, or sometimes when you have the need to play outside of your comfort zone. This is something like that. Of course, it's like a bit of annoying, but on the other hand, you have to settle yourself to a new thing, and you have to work around it because, and that's the other thing. What you did is like you give me an interesting goal, which I want to achieve. So I'm like, okay, I don't like it, but I worked through this because I want more.
It can seem overwhelming at first, but honestly, when we do release the updated version, there are some changes I'm planning on making to that part to make it. I'm going to change it in a couple different ways. I'm actually going to make the coughing more likely to make people notice, but I'm also not going to. I'm not going to totally. Listen, Bill. Listen, I'm not going to make it so it totally blacks out either. I'm going to just have it dim so you know when it's coming, so you can get out. You can go and find a place to puke or whatever.
Yeah, maybe that would be a thing, for example, because when you're just in a lighted area with the noisy floor, and suddenly whoop, the screen blacks out, and you're like. On the other hand, I have to think. You have to think differently. You're like, okay, when I go through that section now, and maybe the blackout comes, I have to look before, like where could I hide, which direction is a shadow or whatever, and where can I go blinded, and so it's a good thing actually. Don't like it, but good.
I have if you're gonna change it, I have two suggestions.
Sure.
Glitch through a wall.
Yeah, the guard that lets you that gives you this little quest at the start. Mm-hmm. I forgot. Does he tell you where the room where it's supposedly kept is?
Yeah.
Does he say like up the stairs to the right? Because that would have been.
No, he doesn't.
He says in the what you have to find that that amulet or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In her,
and then he tells you where to find it in the ladies' quarters.
Yeah, but you don't know where the ladies' quarters are.
No, but he tells you, and I think.
But like you would be able to assume it's somewhere in.
Yeah, but if you go upstairs and you make a left on expert, and you have because the ticks are random. It takes 1 or 2 lives. I've never taken 3. Maybe it does 3 too. But if you take the left and because you can't knock out, you have to hide.
Yeah.
I would like it to be that in case I make the wrong turn, I don't have to reload. So I can make this mistake and still be able to barely make it, let's say. Instead of, I made the left turn, I have to reload and go at the right turn. It feels like it's taking me out. Also, I'd like to say that I felt like there's only 2 guards in the way, but it's kind of, I would have died if I wasn't lucky with the guard positioning, because the bottom one there's no real. There is a shadow that you can hide in, but you're literally like 3 centimeters from the passing guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the kitchen, the dining room, and then the one that walks the hallway at the top of the stairs. There's like a corner where you have to basically stand like an inch from him at one point. Yeah. But then there's a darkened room in the hallway too. But
that darkened room, that's perfect.
Yeah, I tried to make it also like there's a bowl of healing fruit on the table that you can take too, to like give you a little bit more time. Like if you go out of the kitchen, if you go into the dining room, I think there's like 3 or 4 healing
plums,
fruit. Yeah, and then I think there's maybe another one outside if you go into the little fenced garden spot, I think.
I really don't want to play this on ghosting.
I mean, it's forced ghosting, really.
It is.
No, but under let's say Supreme Ghost rules, because you're not allowed to steal those fruits and stuff like that, and you go really slow on that, and you have time. So yeah. I was
actually planning to make a bonus hidden objective that would only tick off for like the extremely hardcore people, where I was going to make it so if you can complete the mission without taking the antidote, which I think it's actually possible, as long as you find all the healing stuff.
Jesus
Christ. The challenge he will accept.
Yeah.
It took me like 4 hours to beat the mission. He wants me to lose health every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Who are these extremely hardcore people?
Well, I think I did it in testing, like only because I know the mission, so well. But,
I see.
But yeah, like I wanted to make a hidden, obviously you wouldn't see it, but if you actually do it and try it, that it would give you like a reward of some kind. But
this is for Psycho.
But
here's an actual speedrunning goal.
Yeah. What I liked, the guard was voiced very well, as the whole game is voiced very well, the whole mission series. But I like the guard as well. I had he's a cool character. I liked him. He was well written, even if he's just that for that one purpose, actually. But
Roland.
Yeah.
The one that asks you to get the amulet.
Right?
Yeah. He's gonna.
The whole.
He comes back. He's gonna come back.
The boy toy.
No, he's not. He's not.
No. He wants to. He has a love interest, but
Lucinda,
another one.
Yeah, he'll be making a return in the story later.
Perfect. Nice. This Lucinda and Roland love story really reminded me of Lady Rowena's missions, where it was always this romantic interest that you have to help either flourish or get away.
Certainly. She is like my favorite author, and so yeah.
I thought Psychosis.
Well, behind
Not
Psychosis.
Lady Rowena, Princess Speedrun, who cares?
The new Lady Rowena,
Yeah, that's right. Ball. But
that's an insult.
She's my favorite. She's my favorite author. So I definitely was inspired by her for that specific thing. Yes.
Indeed, nice.
And you opened up your romantic character side, which is a nice thing.
Yeah. It's also reminiscent to Basso and his damsel in distress.
Yes.
Yeah, I think in general it's like a very similar thing.
So you were touching on Mission 4. I would like to mention just one more thing that I found very interesting in the Swamp mission, which is the we all hear about Elden the Great, Elden the Conqueror, or the one who threw down Trickster. and his 4 knights, and I think forging of his story, forging of his sword, everything is so epic,
Yeah.
nicely written. But everybody
Again, I lost
forgets.
interest.
Yeah. Can I mute him somewhere?
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just so.
So I enjoyed that story, but there's not mentioned so many times, the underlying victims of war between man and the Woodsy Lord, which is the Woodsy folk, and I felt bad completing the mission because it's, as far as I know, Eldin, who defeated the trickster, was also poisoned by the trickster as he fell. And through that poison, he also became cursed. And once he was cursed and was dead, the tomb was erected, and he was laid to rest there. But in the end, when all of his knights, his lords, were dead, and he was entombed for some time, I believe the curse wasn't active at that point. It was the Woodsy folk who were angry at men because they were the Woodsy people say that they were under the Woodsy Lord, under his rule, but he didn't really care for them, and he didn't make them suffer. And it was with this conquest of men that Woodsy folk began to suffer, and men started cutting down trees, cutting down the Woodsy folk, and so they locked the tomb, and and they spread the bones of his lords. That's why you see the wandering lamps.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all very nicely connected. It was like the punishment. This is how they punished this great Eldin, who they call him Eldin the Butcher now. And I was like, there's a very nice line, and it says, "Nobody comes to weep for Eldin the Butcher." And I was like, it kind of stopped me there for about a minute to soak in the atmosphere. I really enjoyed it. I almost felt bad for purifying the bones at the end to see the Godbreaker.
Well, what interesting thing about the ghosts if you, I don't think anybody actually did it, but if you take all of the lines from the ghosts and you load them up in any type of audio program and you reverse them, you can actually hear what they're saying. Because they're speaking actual words, and it's me doing their voices. But like you should just try that sometime. Anybody listening, open up the sound files and take the wandering soldier voices out and listen to them in like reverse them so you listen to them speaking forwards, and I think they'll be pleasantly surprised.
To self.
I first thought of putting it at the end of the episode, but I think no. People should find that out by themselves.
Yeah, it really the whole thing behind, obviously the pagans would see Eldin in a different way than everybody else. I don't want to talk too much about what I personally who I would trust or think, because I like kind of keeping it open to the player's interpretation there.
Yeah.
So I won't go too much into that, but from the pagan perspective, Eldin is a monster. He's
killed their god.
Right. Yeah, he threw down their Woodsy Lord, and he killed the trickster. I mean, obviously the trickster isn't necessarily like a good thing either, but there's shades of gray all over the place. And I sort of like, in any type of account, any type of historical account, I always like to read from both angles, and not just I like reading from the one side and then reading from the other side to, kind of formulate my own opinion that way. But yeah, that the purpose of that was to have some nuance in the story, so that it wasn't just like, Eldin was just this spotless, perfect person. Yeah, ultimately he was sainted by the Hammerites, and I would say there's argument to merit that, because he did, allow man to rise up above the trickster's control, but at the same time, the people that enjoyed the trickster's control, and enjoyed the sort of like not having, the Hammerites around or a government or anything like that, like to them that would be terrible, to have all these new laws and men and buildings and everything. So yeah,
it's like bringing democracy to Iraq or whatever.
I suppose if you want to go there, but yeah.
Well, either way, there are a few archetypes. Types of stories. You have like the biblical one, the Lord of the Rings, which is based on the biblical one,
Right.
where you have the absolute good and absolute evil.
Yeah.
But I find that the most intriguing ones are the ones where this isn't true, and I think this is like your story here is one of those where there is no absolute evil. It's just the perspective that you choose, and I think that's very nice.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. I definitely appreciate the Lord of the Rings ones and the biblical ones. I like those too, but like for this specific thing, I feel like the World of Thief is more the gray one. So
Indeed,
that's kind of what I wanted to go with.
For me, Lord of the Rings was too hyped. I didn't like it.
What, the movies or the books or what?
Movies. I didn't read the books, but it's the same. I was just wanted to make a comparison to the
Sure.
face changer thing.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big Tolkien fan, so
every nerd is normally, but I am not.
I love the books. I think they're amazing. I mean, obviously you shouldn't just keep things in the time they're written, but if you know, as far as Lord of the Rings goes, for the time it was written, especially, like, it is profound, I would say.
Yeah, I think there's a good reason for they being so beloved.
Like, we wouldn't have goblins and elves and all that stuff if it weren't for that. So
I don't miss them, but
thank you, Mr. Tolkien.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have Shrek, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, that's true.
I like that movie.
Anyway,
but no, we're talking big ones.
We're about to talk about how Lord of the Rings are overrated and bad, but Shrek is great. So that's the moral of this podcast.
Yeah. There has never been a moral, and we don't want to change that.
Since we're talking about Elden,
I have
right
one
now.
question. Psychosis, are you still there? Are you saying anything?
I'm biding my time because I really wanted to rail him for some gameplay mishaps.
Yeah, maybe we should, like,
off.
in the next half an hour, maybe come to an end. So maybe we can focus on some things.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay, so to finish up with the swamp mission, I would like to ask you this. You said that you had, when you were playing for, thief missions, the original missions, you had a dream where you forged a mission.
Yes.
Was Elden's dream where he dreamt about forging the Godbreaker influenced by your dream of forging the mission?
No.
Damn it.
Sorry. Nope.
I was really hoping for that one.
It wasn't some 10,000 IQ like chess.
4D chess, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
No, unfortunately, no, it wasn't.
So you are Elden in real life, and you forged your own Godbreaker.
No, that's Mr. Duck is Elden in real life. Elden is actually Mexican, so. Yeah, Mr. Duck voices Elden. He has that awesome deep voice. Mr. Duck from the forums. I don't even know if he's played or even knows about like the mission that's done or anything. I don't even know if he plays Thief anymore, but I always liked him. So.
I mean, when you hear him for the first time and he says, "Are you the one who
broke the curse,
removed the curse?" Like that line there was like, it put me, like, it was like the depth of the voice and the writing of the line kind of pulled me in at that point.
Yeah, and you're gonna kind of find out why Elden is so huge in the next campaign, because we're going more into like the lore of like the ancient world that Elden is from.
Awesome.
I fear a lot of supernatural stuff.
A little bit, but it's always gonna be shrouded in mystery. But like we're gonna find out more about why Elden is like basically a giant and all that stuff.
Okay, sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so to touch.
Did you? Okay, wait. Sorry, but did you plan ahead, or did you just accidentally make his model too big And
No,
then
no, I planned for him to be a giant. Yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
Just making sure, you know.
yeah, that was
Forget.
it's kind of the
Because you said
reason.
earlier you like kind of just like go on a flow when you
Oh,
you
I
do
do
stuff.
for.
So like I thought like you made him just a little too big, and then you're like, you know what?
I mean,
That's lower now.
that's not just a little too big. Like he's like huge. but yeah, no, it was intentional to make him a giant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay, so to touch a little bit on the mission 4, we touched about the beginning where you're poisoned and everything, and I remember playing that for the first time, and I didn't like that.
Sure, yeah.
You had to rush into it, but
Mhm.
after I gave it a second try and I completed that, got the antidote, and I was now able to go into the city, and in light that you said that this was meant to be, it was circled around the swamp. This is why you made the mission.
Mhm.
When I started playing the fourth mission, I was every step that I made, I was more and more amazed. The I wasn't too happy with. I'll say this: I wasn't too happy with the layout of the swamp, especially the tunnels. They were a little bit too cryptic for me. The swamp
Mhm.
itself, I loved the atmosphere there, but when it came to the tunnels, I didn't enjoy it. So I would say,
Yeah, they
well,
just felt like to be there to transport you to the different
Yeah,
areas.
that's
exactly.
my issue with
So
them.
swamp had a lot of good sides of it, and the layout of the mission wasn't one of them. But the third things overweighted that. But when
Sure.
it came to mission 4, at least for me, when it came to mission 4, the city, like it flew naturally. The layouts were amazing. There were always like 3 options where I could go. I could always walk on the rooftops. I could, there were always windows to pick. There was always
Something.
something that I could, think about. Should I go here? Should I go there? And it pulled me in so much that I questioned myself, because it felt like the swamp was the main mission. I was like,
Mhm.
why? When you're so amazing at making the cityscape, I wish this was just a strain of city missions. Like, amazing job there.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the goal of the city mission was I wanted essentially the entire mission to be traversable either by street or by roof. I wanted you to be able to get anywhere to anywhere by one of those options. So I don't know if I quite pulled off
Yeah,
like
you did.
100% completely, but like for the most part, you can get anywhere from anywhere by the roof
It's a
or by the street.
great
Yeah.
sandbox.
Yeah. And you didn't skip on making things green enough. It really reminded me of Black Frog, where the city landscape was, entwined, if this is the correct word, with more green than it usually is, because we have the steampunk thing. This
Mhm.
was very. You had the gray and the red colors of the buildings with a little bit of grayscale, and then you had the luscious park themes with flowers everywhere, and it was just beautiful to look at. You could hardly find an angle which wasn't very nice to look at, and I really hope that you make more of the more of more missions based around this style, because I'm dying for something like that.
You'll
Oh, that's
probably really like his anniversary mission then, when
yeah.
Oh,
in a month from now. Yep.
wow, awesome.
So I always wanted, I guess I'll shill it a little bit, but I always wanted to make a life of the party style mission. And Marble Man and I built a large portion of the city, but it was, I was starting to fall behind schedule, and Marble Man jumped in and helped me out, and he built a portion of the city too. But I have made a life of the party style mission, and it also, because I love Connell so much, it also is going to be a Connell mission, and it is a prequel to Godbreaker.
Excellent.
Yep.
I
And do
also
you
would
get the
like to,
voice?
Yeah.
Good.
I would also
Because
like to
otherwise, I
compliment.
would do it.
You done? I'm kidding.
Never.
I also would like to compliment you on the on like a lot of authors would make this cityscape mission where you could enter every area from different angles, but then they would make these special places. For your case, this would be the church or the inner guidance shop, where there's only one entrance.
Yeah.
But I think you pulled a great balance, because I think such places are important too. But
Yeah.
neither of these places, in your case, had too many enemies in there. It never was that I would enjoy the city and could just go wherever I wanted, and suddenly I have to go into this maze where I have to spend a lot of time for waiting for patrols no, it wasn't. It was just like a good balance. I know that the inner guidance, the 3 patrollers were enough to make you stop and listen, peek around the corners, but not enough to slow you down into too slow of a pace. And I'd like to thank you for that. I think many authors fail on that one.
Can I jump in on that? Because I totally agree. In the swamp mission, for example, and this one, everything feels like, okay, it's a challenge, but there's always a way, like, to, you have options, like the Cray Mask, for example. You just have to find out, of course. But there, yeah, as you described it, next, there's always, like, there's put thought into it, and you never have the feeling like to be forced into something, or you find a workaround or something else. And this is what I really liked as well. So great job, yes.
Thank you.
Also, the hints. Let's say for the how to get into Merrick's apartment.
Mhm.
There were 2 keys, and there were plenty of hints, and it never felt like, because in some missions you would go around and you would complete most of everything, but you missed that only hint that would let you know that this is how you enter this, and then you walk around aimlessly, trying to find a thing, and you would not know, and it would become, obvious to you that you're not immersed into the game, but you're solving some weird puzzle now that you just don't like. I think the hints were plentiful, but not overly frequent that it would become too easy. And yeah, that's also something that I would like to. Maybe the amount of the compliments I'm giving you is that I played this one after the swamp. I enjoyed swamp, but I'm not a swamp fan, and when I got back into the city, I was like, this is just amazing.
Well, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wish the city actually had a map until not until the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, I did find map pretty early on, but I was at the point that I made notes.
I had the misfortune of going like the exact opposite way of the map.
Maybe
and I went
for
all the way around and finally got it. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
this would have been helpful about 10 minutes ago.
Maybe
minutes.
for the updated version, I could do like as soon as Connell gets out of Denizens, I could be like, it's been a while since I've been to Shade Pool. I should find a map at the guard station or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. But then where's the guard station, Because, you don't have a map, so that you're going to end up going.
Yeah, but as long as that's the first place you're looking
mindlessly,
for, and there's like a conversation that occurs outside the guard station. So I mean, I feel like most people would find it pretty quickly. Most people not being you, but yeah.
It is. Let's wail on him while we have the chance. I don't know. I did.
I got the pettiest stuff to complain about.
Like the map was almost more secure than the Veil of Iluz. It was like, Jesus Christ, this is like in the vault in the top room. They hide the map of the.
Yeah, like God forbid someone knows the layout of the streets.
Yeah.
I was almost expecting a puzzle to open the door.
I love the mission. It's just like there's just little things that are just like, why?
Yeah, I would love the map at the start. That is true.
Yeah.
Even like a rough one, like a like an old Thief original mission style one.
Yeah.
Oh, like a map that would lead you to the police station where you get the
like the guy who you give the boat to or whatever, like the guy that gives you the antidote. He could give you like a rough map he sketched.
Wouldn't it be possible? I don't know, but I think it's a lot of work. But there are maps in Thief that they fill during your progress.
Yeah, it's possible, but like it's really annoying and difficult to set up, and especially for a city mission because it's you basically have to work with all of the room brushes to coordinate that the auto map stuff, and it's really for a complex city it would almost be way more effort than it would be worth. I think like it's really hard to room brush like cities. It's
it is very helpful sometimes, but sometimes I find it maybe a little bit too easy because if you would have to sometimes I enjoy looking around where I am, trying to look at the landmarks, special alleys, and then trying to locate that point on the map. I did play missions where the map was horrible enough that was nearly impossible to do, or you didn't have a compass and you couldn't orientate which
I think a rough map is basically the better way than a detailed map or anything else. Like especially for a city mission like that. I think it's cool when you have like fixed orientation points. When okay, in this direction should be this, and there's that. I find that there's a huge landmark, as you said, next, and this gives me orientation because when you have a detailed map, I think sometimes it's more confusing than helpful. And maybe for the solution, like maybe just to get an idea of where the map could be, maybe there should just be a hint, or he should mention something, or maybe you just get a rough map at the beginning that maybe leads you to like that you makes really curious. Okay, I want to go there, and then eventually find it.
But don't worry, Rob. We're going to give you a list of things you have to fix.
Okay, and then you call this like poses and next patch.
I've already got like a list here too, so I'll just add to it.
Oh.
You should see next lists.
Make your windows more than 4 units tall.
Yeah,
to climb through.
Yeah, okay. Like the climbing, especially in mission 1, I was actually like pretty surprised at all of the complaints and pushback I got on it.
Yeah, mission 1 was rough with the climbing.
Here's
the Hammerite window is the worst.
Here's the thing, though.
I didn't have any problem.
Yeah, see, I didn't either because people play Thief in different ways, and so if you literally all you have to do is just press mantle against a window and you'll go right into it. Like it's not difficult really, but like if you're not used to playing that way, then I could see why it would be.
Well, there is a problem if you wanna silently descend from the window, and if the wall isn't thick enough and you would stand directly at the window, you would not be able to crouch before dropping down. So what you have to do in some of the windows is go a little bit back, turn a little bit sideways.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Yeah. See, I'm so used to doing that. I'm so used to making sure that I'm crouched before I drop down on anything. Like I don't even notice that I have to do it all the time. So, but yeah, that is definitely a criticism that I have written down, is to make the windows a little bit taller.
But then again, we are all accustomed to that, and it is something that you get skillful at.
I do like that you changed the pipes sound to not be like actual metal.
Yeah, it's metal.
Like, oh my god, I in my mission right now, I have like you walk along a lot of pipes, and like it's so annoying.
Yeah,
hearing the clang, and then like I feel like I'm doing something wrong, but like I'm like, no, it's just they're just metal, and then.
Yeah, Psychosis, before you enter the contest, please change that.
Yeah, so I took the pipe sound from T2X. I took the metal sound and I made it especially for pipes, and it has the same loudness as stone, so that way it's not like alerting everybody from
It did sound very familiar. I have to say.
I think Cracks in the Glass does it too.
Yeah, he took it from me.
Marble Man, and that was really that was awesome.
Yep,
very good addition. Because like walking across pipes and stuff is like really cool, and it sucks when if like you land wrong or whatever, and you just do clang, or like if you're walking across it, and then your footsteps too loud, and then suddenly the guard on the street below you like gets alerted somehow.
What you could do for your mission, since we have to keep it stock, is you could just create
Yeah.
a new metal sound with the same loudness as stone or whatever, and then just like lower the volume on that specific metal or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Or make like a wooden table with the pipe, you know?
Sure.
So, Psychosis, you wanted to rant?
Well, I mean, I kind of just did with the windows and the well, the beginning of mission 4 is god awful. Like the building is way too like tight, and the patrols are too common, and like the black screen with the cough is probably like the biggest offender. And then like once it's like funny because like once you get out of the first building, like with the cure, once you just get the cure, the mission becomes like literally amazing. And like I was like,
So-
oh, I can
But
dig this mission.
that's a
But
good
like
thing.
up until that point, yeah. But
It's intended to be an elite challenge. Or I mean, show me
Yeah.
show me on Dewdrop where the first part of that mission touched you.
Dewdrop, yeah. Is there a dewdrop in your campaign? I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Ah.
I think there might be, and I think
The
there might be one in
swamp,
the.
or?
Remember, there should always be one in Thief 2.
I think there might be one in one of the pagan huts.
I would imagine,
swamp.
yeah.
Probably
But
the one that has
I
the
think you
cradle.
couldn't grab it or so.
Excellent.
I
recall it.
I recall a dewdrop somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, I need to make a mission where your goal is to like actually destroy one like that.
Wasn't it in the hut of the father?
The one you have to get the pagan kid back?
Yeah, right. Well, I think
Probably.
Didn't she have a doll or something like that?
Probably. I honestly I don't recall. But
You know, there are not many basic graphics for children related stuff, so it always is a doll.
Yeah.
So and that little cradle there there's not much. Yeah. So anything else? I didn't know Nex is just back at the not back. Oh, he's back. Nex, is there anything else you want to go on about?
Let me think. Yeah, actually. A few more influences or possibilities. Do you remember? Are you a fan of Black Frog series?
I played it once.
You played it once. Okay,
I liked it. Yeah.
You liked it.
Mhm.
So I guess your character Cypress is not influenced by I don't know what the name is, but there's the wife of the wife of the guy who owns the mansion that you go into second mission of Black Frog, where you have to steal the portrait. His wife is a devoted, is very religious, and keeps praying. And I thought maybe Cypress was influenced by that character.
No, not at all. I don't really remember that bit at all in Black Frog, so no.
I see. Because I just thought, because Cypress, if I'm not mistaken, also wanted to be a Hammerite priestess.
Yes.
Yeah. I found it funny that you also mentioned Kevel, which a lot of missions do. Cypress was to marry Kevel. And and I like how Kevel is now in jail.
Yeah, so
Kevel?
So well, so that would be a different Kevel. Because Cypress is from Blackbrook. So
But you just like the name.
Yeah. So
just coincidence.
Coincidence indeed.
There's many Kevels. It's like John of Thief.
Yeah.
I see.
John Smith.
Yeah.
John Smith.
Yeah, silence.
Yeah, just looking through what I might have missed.
You know,
Um,
Random Taffer,
Yeah.
Rob, Randy, Randy Taffer. You are working on at the moment you are working on the contest mission for the 20th anniversary contest, right?
Yeah, we're just
Eh.
we're probably days away from beta. Yeah.
And then you are also working on a campaign, right? Which is
Broken Goddess.
Yep.
Broken Goddess
I
again with
do
the
believe
god.
Yandros made a post about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just looking at our thread, so I don't care.
13
No,
missions.
no, but maybe you. So and this is like the story going on from Godbreaker.
Yes.
So
Yep.
as you maybe you want to share some things with us that are maybe interesting to the people that they maybe don't know if they didn't read the thing.
Sure. So it's continuing on Connell's life after he's left the city, and he's set at the end of Godbreaker. He's settled in Bonn, and so he's living there in Godbreaker, or sorry, in Broken Goddess. I won't spoil it, but like basically Connell has used his money to buy an antique and bookshop, which he uses as a hideout. So he has somebody else run the business by day, the books and antiques, but at night, he lives in the upper floors, and at night he's still up to his old, thieving ways, and he is trying to find out more information about various ancient cultures and stuff like that. And let's just say that Iluse, who is hinted about, well, not really hinted, I suppose, but the veil of Iluse that you get in Godbreaker, well, Iluse becomes like a central character in Broken Goddess.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that it's not a coincidence that it's after Godbreaker, it's Broken Goddess.
Yes.
Some continuing. I like wordplay, so that's
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
And is there can we expect a release date? I know you
Never,
authors
ever.
love that question.
Never. Ever.
Yeah, probably never. No, but I mean,
When it's done.
we've got a team working on it this time, so it's not just me and Yandros. It's going to be, there's quite a few people that are going to be working on it. Like right now, our soul has been. I hope he doesn't mind if I.
The poor boy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been kind of working on his own because everybody else is working on contest missions, but like he's not doing a contest mission. And I hope he doesn't mind that I'm mentioning this, but he's actually done quite a bit on the third mission, I believe, of Broken Goddess.
Yeah. That's his baby.
Yeah.
How many missions does it have?
13.
And 13 real missions, not.
So with
yeah,
the Black Parade,
no
there are
cutscenes.
2 huge campaigns coming.
Yes, Black Parade will probably be released first, I would guess.
But yeah, it's like just like for the players, for the fans, it's like, oh great that there are 2 really with well-named authors campaigns coming, which is cool.
The joke is Black Parade is never ever, but they're actually coming along really well.
And all of this,
I know.
All of this will still be released before Roxburgh
and they
Zero. So
the Black Parade has amazing voice acting, I heard.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. They don't have. They just have the second row. Yeah. From my part, I think we can come to an end. I think we have 2.5 hours now.
Yeah.
Just about.
Is there anything you want to add, Rob?
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. You all know where I am on the. Feel free to reach out if you ever have any questions about anything or stuff that's going on. You can send me messages on. I guess on Discord you can find me, or on TTLG. I'm not great about answering my TTLG messages, and my inbox gets full pretty often. So sometimes it doesn't let people send stuff to me because I haven't cleared it out. But yeah, you can find me there. If you want to listen to, I know we didn't really talk about it, but I also am a musician and I've got lots of music out there. Some of it's Thief influenced. Not directly, but it's always in my head. So
I have stolen music.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I have original band called Super Quiet. That's all one word. You can find us out there. We're on like basically every streaming service if you want to check us out.
Oh yeah, I will do that.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it, I think.
Cool. So you're a very active guy, and you have very many hobbies and talents. We see.
Well, I have lots of hobbies. I don't know about a lot of talent, but hobbies, yes.
No, but as I said at the beginning, you're like an artist. You're like a creative type, and I think we came to that during the podcast that you put thought into things, and yeah, I think that's reflected on the Godbreaker mission, for example, and yeah, it's nice to see.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was great to have you on this.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, of course.
I love the church choir.
Oh yeah. Thank you. That was a real treat to put in there. That's one of my favorite things about the last mission, actually.
Oh, go on.
That Gregorian chant is gorgeous. So I had to put it in there.
Didn't am I just misremembering? But didn't like the Hammerite like conducting it? Like, wasn't he like making comments during it, or no? Am I just picking that up?
If he made comments, it was because he texted you, probably.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah. Bad. Huh? Okay.
Okay. So yeah, as I said, it was a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for your time. And yeah, as we figured out, I think we will have you on the show if you'd like to for other different amazing missions, which we have to cover one day.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'd love to come back, and I really like what you guys are doing. So
yeah, thank you. We too.
Oh, you.
No, yeah, it was a treat as always. Special guests are always welcome and a great addition. The spice in the soup, and so yeah, I wish you a nice day. It's lunchtime at you, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I will have my dinner. So everyone, thanks for listening, and see you next time. Thanks, Psychosis.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Yep.
Oh, well, it was good doing business with you. I guess I'll... Oh.